just a few days ago
พี่เปิดที่ YouTube อย่างพี่เมื่อวานแม่งลืมแบบว่าแบบพร้อมปิดสตรีมแต่ว่า OBS มันยังปิดอะไรไม่ได้ก็เลยเมื่อวานแบบแม่งกลับมาถึงบ้านแล้วเห็นสตรีมเปิดอยู่แล้วนะครับผม
I think this year he has really turned a corner and has really looked like one of our better coaches in the LCK, which is a crazy thing to think after, all of the turmoil that he's been in throughout his career.
So many of the rosters that he's coached have been veterans and one, maybe two young players in it. And in this roster now, he has one veteran and 4 young players, not all of them rookies, of course, career being the youngest. But it does seem like the team has taken a liking to his style. And I think when the team trusts CVMax and they're all moving on the same path together, they make real growth, right? There's no roadblock blocks, it feels like, in terms of the style. And when CVMax has a bad read, it feels like the team kind of goes down with him a little bit sometimes here and there.
Yep.
But then they learn from it. And that's why you see the form of D+ fluctuate. But it's the kind of graph where, even though it's like a stock graph that's of a pretty stable stock, where it goes up and down, but the end result just keeps getting higher ultimately as it goes up and down there. So we'll see just how high it goes here at the end of the season.
Yeah, just trying their very best to transform into an ETF.
Yeah, basically.
We'll see how they do go. We just saw a really weird ad for an ETF app in the elevator on the way up.
It said fun ETF.
It was, and it didn't look very fun.
But D+ is very fun, so maybe they should get the hook up on that sponsor.
Probably let them know. That being said, they have been in that elevator before because it's the same one that the players take to get up to LoL Park. So maybe that's what has given them this new rise in consistency.
ไม่รู้เป็นออนคิดว่าจะแก้บอร์ดโปรจิ
Max Trophy was on your screen right there.
เมื่อวานจริงๆแล้วอ่ะ
being coached by him all the way back in the day on Griffin.
พี่มาอยู่อะเมื่อวานจริงมันย้อนเยอะไปหน่อย
of CVMax and what makes him tick.
คิดอย่างเดียวเลยเมื่อวานคือถ้าต่อไปนี้เล่นอ่ะคือถ้าเกิดมีโฟร์ energy อยู่อ่ะต้องเอามาวางเว้ยว่าเรามีโฟร์ energy อยู่ไม่งั้นพอแบบว่าพอเรามีโฟร์ energy แล้วเราลืมว่าเรามีโฟร์ energy อ่ะแล้วเรามาหน้ามันคันหนึ่งพอดีไงแล้วพอมีโฟร์ energy เราชนะไงแล้วปรากฏว่าแบบพอเราเรามีโฟร์ energy อยู่มันก็เหมือนกับว่าตอนแรกบอกมาหน้าไม่พอตอนนี้มีแล้วเหรออะไรเงี้ยมันก็แบบเกียนแตกอะไรเงี้ย
doing our very best to preserve the vocal cords
ติดแล้วนึกไม่ออกจะล้างยังไงไม่ยากนะเมื่อวานไข่ใส่ทำลายเกียร์เข้าไปอ่ะเขามีแค่3ตัวเว้ยเอลเดอร์ถ้าเราแค่ฆ่าแบบว่า2ตัวอีกตัวนึงยกขึ้นเขาก็เหนื่อยแล้วฆ่าตัว2ตัวเอเรียมันฆ่าได้ฆ่าเอลเดอร์ให้ได้ชามมาฆ่าได้
Oh my goodness what are they going to do for next year is it just like it's a summer tournament now
we don't know
yeah they always try and keep us on our toes don't they all right D+ will be picking first that means they're on the red side Gen.G on our blue side to start us off with counterpick available which can be very dangerous if you've got players like Keen and Chovy on your team but let's do it let's get on into the draft for game number 1 of our Saturday showdown
here we go first pick for D+ Kia
ดูเสร็จทำอะไรต่อครับวันนี้
for Gen.G Nocturne going to be taken away right away now in this first draft I imagine these bans will be pretty similar to what we've been seeing overall with Cassiopeia, the Poppy, Orianna, Nocturne but as we move deeper in this draft I think there's been a lot to study on D+. For example the Twisted Fate could be something that we see banned in this series. The Lucian is going to be taken away from Smash here. They do flex that one and leave the Orianna for now as a Galio ban will come through first.
All right, so Orianna or Vi, pick your poison, I think is kind of the idea here. Sorry about the hiccup. Oh no, Orcs is here. Did he infect me? Did the hiccup virus get up here?
I heard something about Cage will tell him something about
You have to imagine that you're a fish.
ตอนนี้ก็คือไม่มีพี่เจแล้วพี่เจแบบว่าเรียกว่าอยู่ที่ร้านแบบร้านต่อขนตา
Hopefully I don't get caught out by another hiccup. Maybe it's just a one-off freak hiccup situation.
Well, let's see what this first pick is going to be because they do ban the Orianna. First pick Vi, I'm not a big fan of.
ลูกค้าทักเต็มเลยพี่ก็อยากช่วยตอบเลยพี่ตอบไม่เป็นเลยแบบเขาถามว่าแบบนี้ราคาเท่าไหร่
They're going to pick it because it's simple.
And it's Lucid. and you already iterated it. This is something that has worked in the past. I'm not a huge fan of the Vi first pick. I know you're not either.
เหมือนพอเรา optimize ad อะเรายิง ad ด้วยใช่ป่ะเรา optimize ad ดีๆอะมันลูกค้ามันเห็นแบบเยอะเลยว่ะ
It's his most kills holding champion.
เมื่อคืนเล่นดึกไปไม่งั้นผมปิดไลฟ์ให้ไปแล้วเมื่อวานพี่ตั้งระบบไปแล้วให้มันปิดไลฟ์เองพอเรากด ending screen อะแต่ว่ามันเป็นแบบอารมณ์แบบมันเป็นไลฟ์แบบด้วยแบบ multi stream มันเลยแบบปิดไม่ได้เว้ยไอตัว OBS มันกดปิดไปแล้วมันก็เลยแบบเมื่อวานก็เลยลองเทสลองปรากฏว่าไม่ได้อยู่ดีมันก็เลยแบบสุดท้ายก็คือต้องปิดเองต้องรีโมทมาปิดเมื่อวานพี่แก้ระบบการ์ดแล้วแบบตอนนี้แบบการ์ดมันอ่านได้เร็วขึ้น20กว่าเท่าอ่ะ
A lot of damage to cut through the Olaf. I actually like this choice. He has the Pantheon and point-click stun the Inara and make it a little bit tougher to play the game when we get to later on team fights. But you need a high DPS composition in order to kill the Olaf, and the Inara is going to be exactly that. And it feels incredible when you get to protect it in the bottom lane because Gen.G opted for top jungle here. They won't be able to get.
ส่วนเรื่องภาษาไทยน่าสนใจมาก
They could do something like grab a bard here and try to compete, but I don't think that's going to be what they want to do. Because then some of the 80 carry pairings will be taken away. The only 80 carry I could see here is Ezreal that you could grab in this lane right now, but you won't get that range support with it.
ก็เลยจะทำไอ้ตัวเบต้าเป็นเบต้า 1.4
This is, I believe, what we saw KT
ลิปบาวเบต้า
T1 with
ลิปบาวอ่านการ์ดดีเทคเตอร์
was a very similar lineup of champions. Augmented then by an Ezreal draft towards the bottom side of the map.
เมื่อวานเราใช้ 1.3
do get their hands on that. I would
ตอนนี้เราจะเปลี่ยนไปใช้ 1.4
especially if they were looking at the what was it? The opening.
Yeah.
You know, the points of the match.
BDD's rise was insane yesterday.
It was. And Ruler has played a bajillion games and has got a bajillion kills on the Ezreal. So maybe ban that away.
I think they will ban the Ezreal. That makes the most sense. Something like Ezreal and Bard being removed, I think, is the safest play here for D+ Gia to keep their bottom lane protected. My expectation of Karma, also similar situation. All right. My expectation for Xiu is that instead of trying to play a range top into this Olaf, he might just want to play some sort of
คือก่อนแก้แบบต้องใช้5เฟรมประมาณ5วินาทีก่อนจะฟันธงหลังแก้ ใช้เวลา 0.2 วินาทีในการฟันธงเร็วขึ้นแบบ22 เท่า
Could be the way to play that one out. They've taken away
โอลาฟมาอีกแล้วแล้วมากันในวายแล้วโอลาฟมันเก่งอ่ะแพทเนี้ย
with the Vi on the table here, they take away the Ahri.
Okay. So it could be like a Vi Talia if
ด้วยความที่ตอนแรกอ่ะมันเอามาแค่แก้วาลัสเว้ยแล้วพอเอามาแก้วาลัสปุ๊บมันก็กลายเป็นเฮ้ยตัวอื่นมันก็สู้ไม่ค่อยได้นี่หว่าแล้วมันก็คือแบบลามไปเรื่อยเลยทีนี้ก็เอาไปเจอทุกตัวได้หมดเลยผมพยายามทำวิกิกดแล้วกดแปลไทยไปได้สักทีคอสบอกแปลแล้วนะแต่
That was literally that would be the draft that KT used. If they just go Ezreal Seraphine here, then that's it. They've locked it in.
I don't necessarily love it, but it is some of the best options they have left. They can flex the Seraphine as well. Ruler's a great Seraphine player, and then leave it a little bit up to what else gets locked in here for D+. So I like this because there's no way they're going to take the Ezreal away from you. You're not going to see Ezreal top into Olaf. It would be very funny, but it's not going to happen. So there's a few options here. You could play the Vayne that's up. You can play Kled, you can play a tank, you can play Cassante, you can play the Ambessa, which is a bit more middle ground for this draft, which I actually really like.
You can play Jax.
You can play Jax. You could also play like Anivia top if you want to change this draft up considerably.
That's a good point.
But the lock pick here.
Oh, they're locking it.
ผมว่าภาษาไทยไม่จำเป็นเท่าไหร่เพราะคนเล่นก็ต้องอ่านภาษาอังกฤษอยู่แล้ว
Heavily committed to top side here, and I don't know if this is going to work out into Pantheon Rise.
คิดเหมือนเราแล้วก็คิดเหมือนกับเขาที่อยากเล่นภาษาไทยให้อ่านง่ายๆแต่หลักๆพี่ว่า30วิอาจจะ
This is actually kind of sick, to be honest. I know we all know Shiu can play, but it really wasn't on my mind. But it's actually the one pick that could salvage this lock pick for me.
And I also, I love it alongside it. Oh, it's not going to be the case. No. We know that his Alawi is really, really fun and very cool, but instead it will be the Jax that we have seen work into the Olaf before. This is the counter that's been attempted a lot, but hasn't necessarily found all that much success. So we'll see how Xiu is going to do on it.
You could play Xayah here. It would be really weird, but I think Ezreal is probably safer.
It's going to be
Ezreal. And it's Jax, so like there's just even more reasons to play Ezreal.
Well, who played it better, KT or Gen.G? That is going to be the question. I'm very scared because I've heard this Chovy guy is like pretty good at League of Legends, and now he's on the champion that BDD just absolutely obliterated the game with.
So we've talked a little bit about Lock and how you got to have winning lanes, and then you can just, you know, basically dive and drop, press your R button, drop
แจ็คไม่เจอว่ะ
farm up kills.
เมื่อวานโดรานไปเจอแล้วแจ็คมันค่อนข้างเป๋เหมือนกันเพราะว่าไปช็อตไอ้สนิกกี้จะฆ่าเขาแล้วเลือดไม่พร้อมอะไรไม่พร้อมโดนป่ามา
My biggest prediction for how these two drafts clash together is that there is in no way, shape, or form. This is my prediction, guys. You can call me out if I'm wrong. You'll be right here to do it. I don't think this will be a close game. Period.
ชอบดับใครมากกว่ากัน
It has to be one-sided. Either this lock composition gets online super fast and the game goes out of control, the Olaf is useless, and D+ run away with the game, or they try to and fail, and they can't do anything, and the draft is useless, and maybe it's a longer game, but Gen.G will have control from the mid-game on, and it'll just be a disaster. I don't think there's any game where we have a slow burn, not a lot of kills, moving into like 2-2 dragons, it's 1,000 gold to lead only. I don't think that kind of game can exist with these two drafts.
I do think that if D+ get themselves to team fights, this could be absolutely insane. With Lock diving in with his Purgatory, you've got Wild Growth, and then all of that AoE from the Yanara with the Runons now blocked up, right? You can get to that threshold. This could be a Showmaker pentakill game. See what happens though, so get onto the roof.
ต้องไม่นี่อ่ะต้องไม่
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen.
ต้องแบบฟาร์มไปเรื่อยๆอ่ะ
Number 1. Gen.G
แต่แจ็คมันก็ต้องพยายามกดโอลาฟ
I really
ก่อน
do need to like go back
แต่งง
and
จริง
check out
ลูนก็เป็นลูนแบบ
the KT draft to see whether it is
ไอ้ลิตเติ้ล
absolutely
เทมโปมัน
identical
สู้ไม่ได้ได้ไงวะ
or whether there is like a slight variation somewhere because I'm pretty sure it is just exactly the same champions.
For some reason.
I think it was Pantheon, but not entirely sure. Hang on. Oh, it was Nocturne.
Nocturne, okay.
It was Nocturne.
Yeah, that was the one that didn't seem right. I was like,
but I mean,
but it's
honestly,
global.
Nocturne is just spooky Pantheon. Like, let's be honest. Like, they do basically the same thing. You can't target your ultimate.
Yeah,
it's
he's
okay.
squishier, but he's spookier, so it's fine.
Yeah.
They both have a little shield. One's a spell type shield. The other one's actually physically a shield he holds up.
Yeah. So I think it will work in a similar fashion here to what KT represented yesterday, as it was a different opponent. This top lane matchup, identical, but the mid lane was a different one. Faker actually took the Ahri matchup, which was banned away.
Yeah.
ไม่ค่อยเวิร์กว่ะพี่ลองแบบ
Obviously, Showmaker has always had a fair bit of fun on the Ahri. Not going to be doing it this time, and this time going to be trying his hand at the Lock. And we've seen a lot of Lock picked up with like Ignite in the mid lane.
มันเป็นอย่างนี้ไหมในเมื่อแบบทั้งเคนชินกับอีกี้มีความขัดแย้งซึ่งกันและกันมันจะเป็นแบบนี้ดีไหมวะคือจะเป็นการขึ้นมาใช่ปะแล้วก็เป็นการภาษาอังกฤษขึ้นมาแล้วก็มีด้านขวาเป็นแบบถึงไอเรียก็เป็นไอเรียนักลำใบดาบเบสแดนเซอร์แล้วก็แบบเมื่อเลือกยูนิตจะทำให้ตัวเองหมดแรงวงเล็บเอ็กซอร์แล้วจ่ายรูน1 ดวงเพื่อให้ยูนิตตัวนั้นพร้อมใช้งานวงเล็บเลดี้เมื่อพิชิตคองเคอร์จ่ายเพิ่ม1 หน่วยเพื่อตัวเองพร้อมเช่นกัน
At this pace, he'll be done in game 1. Now, Lucid is going to look for a punish here. Career is super low. Does have flash for maybe polymorph play. Not going to go for it.
Yeah, well, now the punch is actually going to connect onto Dura. Ruler's just standing his ground. He had barrier, and that's just a freebie.
All right, well, that's 2 of the 17, so we're down to 15.
Okay, yeah, so 15 on the clock.
I did get the update. It's a bit unfortunate for D+ fans that Chronicler is watching, so...
Oh, that's what happened.
Quite the
เชียร์ DK เหรอครับ
watching D+.
จริงๆต้องเชียร์ Gen.G อ่ะเพราะว่าสำหรับพี่ Gen.G ไม่มีผลอะไรกับทีวันละ
Not to be a close game. Watch this flash.
Oh my
also,
goodness!
By the way, notice how his camera was set, and he queued. He but he queued and he was off screen.
Yeah.
As Lucid just. I mean, this was optimistic, but I think he needed Career to flash forward and try to offer some additional damage and/or polymorph. He had low mana. I just think there's a bad calculation. I don't know if Career really could have impacted that one, but Lucid certainly thought he could.
Yeah, I think Lucid needed to like remember that there was a barrier on the Ezreal and realize that it was going to be a difficult one to kill.
And he's like looking at Smash like, wait, he killed you without barrier.
Well, now this Gen.G bottom lane are going to be very happy. I think they were already pretty psyched with how things were going. as oh my goodness. Yeah, I think Ruler managed to go back and buy like
I was gonna say, what
half
did you
the
get?
shop.
Sheen and a tier.
As it turns
ที่ดู
out,
แข่ง
if
ที่บาร์
your
ต่างประเทศทุกคน
opponent
อย่าง
is
เย
level
อะใช่
3,
ประเทศเรา
the
เทียบ
Sheen
ไม่ได้
prop
เลย
does a trillion damage.
ประเทศเราเทียบไม่ได้เลย
Metaphorically speaking, of course.
พี่เพิ่งรู้ว่าแบบ
Case
เทียบไม่ได้เลย
like 87.
คือเราไปกัน200 คน
I
น่ะ
was rounding.
แม่งคือแบบแค่ตอนเดียวแค่เหมือนเม็ดสิวบนใบหน้าที่ฝรั่งบอกคือแบบมัน
This might just be the game.
จุดเล็ก
I mean,
มาก
I'm not kidding, and it's very sad, but Locke needs a lane to play through prio-wise. Now, if you're Canyon knows on the player cam was laughing when this happened. Canyon's like, cool, I think I'm gonna put my focus on top side.
Yeah.
Just play safe bot ruler and take your giant lead and keep shoving it into this turret because now they can't play through the Jax anymore because I'm gonna be up there. Can't play through a Yunara Lulu lane. And what's the Vi gonna do? The Vi Lock
ลิบาว
setup
ก็ไลฟ์อยู่เหรอ
not that great actually
ไม่น่าชัดก่อน
until the
คุณ
Vi becomes, or sorry,
ไม่
until
ได้
the
ขึ้
Lock
น
gets
เปิดไม่
bigger
ได้
as
หรอ
Smash is alone.
Yeah, beat drop does come down. Ruler's going to hit the W. And that means that Smash is in a lot of trouble. Misses that Mystic shot. And so now Smash might live, but even Duro's damage is just a little much to deal with. And yeah, this 1,000 gold lead will only extend.
So this was a draft where, things could get a little volatile, but they weren't supposed to go down like this. Esports fans, this was not really what I meant when I said one-sided game.
Well, I mean, it is a one-sided game though, Wolf. And so maybe, even though you didn't mean it, it's what you meant.
Yeah.
I told you guys exactly like this.
Yes.
Sometimes, you know what's going to happen, but then the reality hits, and you're like, actually, this is not, I don't like this.
Yeah.
But,
even
set us
Gen.G's
out for
probably
it.
like, man, all the practice potential in this series, at least in game one, might be out the window. Now, at least she was playing a good game, right? Chovy has a pretty significant CS lead in mid, but that's supposed to happen, especially when the Lock takes TP and doesn't have any jungle attention.
Wolf, Keen, okay, he pulled the wave for a second, and now it's no longer pulled.
It would have been really bad if he could have pulled it further. They are sending the Pantheon bottom lane because they expect Lucid to try to salvage this lane right now. And Canyon's already here and has Prio.
Now Lucid going to be able to clear out this ward. Oh, great interruption there with the Vault Breakers. Now Showmaker looking for an angle, finds some nails into Canyon, but Chovy is just going to Realm Warp his way over. Showmaker goes in to try and save the Vi, and somehow that Q is avoided. And he gets himself out of there. Flash forward. There's some purgatory for Ruler. They get him to the threshold, and Showmaker looking to get himself out, but he's put into Runic Prison. Realizes that he has to try and fight his way out and will not manage it. And now Chovy. Oh my goodness. That splash damage could have just killed Smash.
Good slow there from Career to help him escape. At least Showmaker was able to get something out of this, but ultimately I don't think it's really even that big of a win. Chovy's going to stop Career's back with Duro's help. And grabs more plate gold. They are going to get the dragon as well off of this play. I think for Gen.G, the game plan there with Canyon bottom side is all I have to do is show up, and we will be able to avoid any sort of disaster. As Ruler's just going to go mid. He's like, I'm ready to farm minions. I already did the champion farming bottom lane. And this should just be a dragon secure. But for D+, I think the plan should have been, okay, well, Canyon's here. We don't really have a play to make. So we'll opt out and, maybe waste Canyon's time and the game state won't get worse. However, they do opt in, and because of an extended play here, Showmaker is able to get a little bit of damage down, waits for his opportunity here. Look, Lucid gets chunked out. Initial part of this fight looks really bad for D+, but Ruler gets caught by the ultimate here, which means that the execute threshold is reached, and Showmaker tries to blink away, but gets caught here by Chovy, gets rooted, and taken out. If he gets away there, it's a massive win for D+, but because he doesn't, they're just back to square one. And now
คู่นี้ไม่มีผลครับ คู่นี้แพ้หรือชนะละ
Yes.
Yeah.
ว่ะ
And
น่าจะไม่มีผ
Chovy
ล
is
ปะ
always going to be a little bit ahead as far as that is concerned, but
ขอลองเช็คไว้
he's
หนึ่งนะ
a lot a bit ahead.
He's
Yeah.
a whole level up on this Lock already.
It's kind of crazy.
DK
Getting to level 8, yes, right now. And Korea is here just
DK
trying to help Showmaker
ที่วัน
out.
ตอนนี้
Obviously,
10 คิวที่
it's going
3
to
มันนี่ว่ะ
be behind by just a little bit. The problem is there's not a whole lot of late game payoff.
คือถ้า Gen.G ชนะ
in
Gen.G จะ
comparison to
อันดับ 1 เลย
Rise if you are playing
แต่ถ้า
the
Gen.G
Lock. Yes,
แพ้
you have that explosive AoE
และฮาวาไลชนะพรุ่งนี้
if your
ฮาวาไล
opponent
ก็
is
จะอันดับ
locked up.
1 เหมือนกัน
But yeah, you're also facing down the champion with one of the largest 3-item spikes on the planet.
โอเค
Like, you
พี่
just-
ขอโทษที
it's going to be a rough
เสร็จแล้ว
time.
The farm for the Yunara, the farm for the Lock.
ใช่มีผล
So
แค่ฮาวาไลกับ
disastrously
Gen.G
behind. Ruler is 2 levels up currently on Smash.
And Smash is not actually going to be able to get back to his turret either.
He's like, if I flash towards the turret and you wild growth me, maybe I can get a few minions.
Oh man, look at this.
Yeah, he wants level 6. He's gonna get it off this wave. Luckily for him.
Yeah, there it is. Now Duro's gonna get pressured away, but not really much. So they do manage to get the ulti for Smash. That is a big deal. He now has access to a dash. That is good. But as you were talking about before, it just feels like the uphill gradient is just a little steep here for D+.
Yeah, Lucid is going to need to leave this area, I think. Although he does have Showmaker with TP somewhat nearby. Chovy has so much prio, though I don't think he'll be able to.
แล้วถ้าอะไรแพ้ Gen.G ล่ะครับพี่
Calm down, teams. I'm trying to explain my prediction
มันจะไม่ได้เจอกันแล้วนะ
I don't think they should.
มันจะไปเจออีกทีรอบเพลย์ออฟละ
Decent assist.
พรุ่งนี้จะเป็นฮาวาไลกับ T1
There's the encore, but it's not exactly the best. The beat drop, though, that is incredible. Lucid still fighting against Canyon and Co.
โอ้ชูวิ่งจะเอาโอ้ my god แฟดไปเอาลูลูด้วย
And why did D+ feel the need to fight?
Well, they're so far behind. They thought maybe we could finesse this, but they just simply cannot.
ยากว่ะแชท
แม่ง oh god, it might even get worse.
Yeah, that's another kill. That's just a
ที่แจ็คสู้โอลาฟยากมากเลยว่ะ
Showmaker might be able to kill Kane.
Maybe.
Let's see.
Maybe. He has flash, by the way.
Yeah, Kane is running. He's running. Someone will get this kill. As Lucid is just happily able to take it. Showmaker wasted all of that time and didn't even get an assist.
So the reason why
คือด้วยความที่แจ็คมันโดดเข้ามาใช่ป่ะไอโอลาฟมันก็จะโยนขวานแล้วมันก็จะเดินถอยแล้วแจ็คมันก็แบบว่าพอมันแบบโดดเข้ามาแล้วเข้ามาแล้วมันก็ต้องถอยแล้วพอมันถอยปุ๊บโอลาฟไปเก็บขวานแล้วมันก็โยนแล้วมันก็ตีแล้วแจ็คก็สู้ไม่ได้แล้วถ้าแจ็คไม่อยากจะสู้จุดไฟแม่งก็กดเอ็กซอร์แจ็คก็ต้องหนีเกมแม่ง
And so not only are they not accelerated, they basically Gen.G popped all 4 tires.
แล้วโดดแล้วถ้าเลเวล6มันโดดเข้ามาปุ๊บมันก็เจอแบบกุลันติบึ้งแล้วมันก็แบบแจ็คก็ชิบหายแล้ว
I don't know. This looks like 4 flats to me in this team fight.
Yeah, I mean it's flats, but I don't even think you can replace the tires. You need new wheels.
It's a really good play from Duro. Not only does he have the charm, he gets
คือเมื่อก่อนมันจะไม่ได้มีตัวนี้เพราะว่าจริงเอาไซออนไปเจอได้ป่าว
huge win. They get 2 kills there. And then when Shiu goes for this all-in here, Keen just pops ultimate at the exact right time to prevent the counter-strike from getting a stun. And that's it. It's as simple as that. And then he runs over here to avoid Showmaker, who he expects is coming up. Doesn't get the execute, but gives a kill over only to the Vi, who's the only lead here.
ถ้าพี่กิ๊ฟจะทำคลิปแนวสอนลิบบาร์ขอสไตล์เพลงของแต่ละเด็กด้วยนะครับเป็นแบบอัลโกคอนโทรลมิดเรนจ์อะไรประมาณนี้ยังหาเอาพีโจยังไม่ได้หรอ
It's a 3K gold lead.
We're a little bit slowed down on the kills to get to 17 here in this series, but the money, that keeps going up. The experience, that keeps going up. He's 50 CS ahead. He might flame Horizon this game before we get to do it this pace.
Yeah, now Chovy is running. There's the flash in from Lucid. They might be able to put down this rise. The Showmaker should be able to get the burst damage, and there it is. Canyon now throwing Qs around, though, and Showmaker going to have to teleport over that wall. Does manage to do so. Now, Career and Showmaker able to get themselves out. Nice little pick here.
Yeah, that's a big win. Big win. 2 kills now to Showmaker. And so, yes, they're going to lose this dragon. Yes, it is going to be double dragon, but they got some money onto this lock. As right now, Steve Max is really happy. He's got that portrait of Mary in the team house because they're going to have to keep hailing it over and over and over in this game. There's just there's nothing else to this game, which is what they did on that last dragon fight and what they did here.
Yeah.
Just got to keep praying. You got to keep going in. You got to keep hoping that people are out of position and you get that lock reset. And they got it.
It's a Cloud Soul here as well. So Keen will be pretty happy if they manage to pick that one up, press Ragnarok, and then just be able to infinitely run up to anyone you want to murder and just kill them.
It's a Gunblade start here for Showmaker in this game as well, which I think, given the game state, is pretty cool because you really just need
เชียร์ไปลองดูช่องเพนกวินฮอต
in that hopeful pick you're looking for constantly all the time this
คนดู
game.
เยอะนะก็เล่นเล็กนั้นเด็กนี้เล่นขำๆไม่ซีเรียสจบแล้วย้อนได้ด้วย
With this play here is to punish someone out of position and Career baits Canyon forward, then Polymorph
กำลังเข้าใจกับรัก Infinity Loop
to offer any reprieve or peel for Chovy, who is then taken out. So really nice bait there and a great
แล้วพี่
punish.
เซ็งนิกมาดาป่วยแต่เหมือนเดิมภาษาใต้เอเชีย
Basically give me the kills one by one.
ดาบยังกระทอม
He said catch up one by one.
เอสเรียวแม่งรวยระดับแบบบ้าไปแล้ว 2007
That's how you have to play this.
Yep.
You have a pick comp, you've got a lock, feed the lock.
คือตอนนี้ลูซิดที่แม่งเงินนำแคนยอนได้เพราะว่ามันไปได้ชัดดาวน์คีนมานะเว้ย
might be a good idea, but also Maybe not. Maybe he just sort of let Smash get the farm where he can.
ที่ Gen.G เขากลับมาได้แบบโคตรโหดเลยว่ะ
Showmaker get to a position where he can just
โหด
make
โหด
people
จัด
explode. That's what this champion kind of does. That's all right. Shiu does hit level 11. That is a big spike here for the Jacks. His team fighting will be dangerous as this game goes on. And they do have a pretty squishy support, right? Like there are picks to be had around the map. And Pix is on the map because Korea's playing Lulu. So
yeah, it's a really pick-based comp with that in mind.
Yeah, Pix-based.
Yeah.
In fact.
เมลรอบ2โดนแจ้งเตือนไม่น่าไม่มีภาพเลย
Nothing that DK can do about it as Kane might be the target of a gang.
คือเขาแบบ
strong possibility and
60 ID กันอะ
Pantheon that has ult as well
คนละ60อะเราคนละที่1อะมันแบบมันแลนแค้นอยู่แล้ว
Olaf with ultimate at the ready. Like I don't know whether you're killing Kane here, guys.
ถ้าวันนั้นจะย้อนเวลากลับไปได้ก็คือจะย้อนเวลากลับไปสร้าง ID ทั้ง
200Well, Lucid is actually going to look for the angle here towards the Pantheon. Canyon now gets underneath the turret as Korea gets himself the wild growth. Canyon doesn't find the angle onto the Lulu, and Keen is so incredibly low, but keeps himself alive. There is a counter-strike. Somehow D+ are still alive as Lucid goes over the wall. And they're still looking for a dive. Guys, just get out. This is already good. In they go. That is going to be the kill onto the lock. But down goes the Olaf that they were looking for as she almost manages to sidestep, but doesn't really get there. Duro is now going to overstep as Lucid. Oh, is the beat drop going to come through? There's the Vault Breaker, and he gets the kill on the Seraphine. I think in the end,
พยายามดึงเวลาให้แบบโชวี่กับลูเลอร์แม่งดัง
Yeah, but I think that this is the best you can hope for as D+. They're taking a page out of the DN Supers book. Like, this is how DN Supers have been playing so well from behind. You just put 4 people in a side lane, and you force them to react. And then they outplay here. Look at this wild growth timing for Career after he's charmed and focused by Canyon. Then Canyon's in the wrong spot, flashes himself, then misses Career, and now doesn't have his buttons for a few seconds here. Shio waits for the counter-strike. They dismantle this defense. They take out the Pantheon, and then they can look for the redive here onto Keen. Doesn't have summoners anymore, no exhaust here. Lucid goes in first. They have the damage here. It's a sacrifice of the lock, and then Duro gets a little greedy here trying to punish. And yes, he does get Shiu ultimately, but when this charge Q comes through from Lucy, he has enough of a shield here to force him back. And for some reason, Duro goes back in again and does end up dying there. All that Vi damage. So they're going to look for a rinse and repeat. This is actually so ironically the DN Supers playbook. And part of how they beat Gen.G in Kespa Cup, actually. Here we go again.
Yeah, Chovy's moving over though this time around as Showmaker gets the nail gun out, but isn't able to find too much. Canyon will be able to take the Rift Herald without too much of a response here. Heads back towards his jungle.
And I think that, like you said, the side lane pressure from Chovy, all the money he picked up there, is definitely higher value than what D+ are doing. But if D+ just play a standard game here, that's also going to happen. And they're just going to get pushed out of the game. Now they have a Jax that's got some money. You know, this lock is further online than he was before, has tier 3 boots. And all the while, Smash is, like you said, just not being played through, but farming. And it will eventually be an 80 carry threat later on. And with this pick comp, if you kill anyone first, then the Yunara can clean up in a 5v4 pretty easily. So I think this is still an incredibly Gen.G favored game state, but it feels like D+ had at least a good plan as to how to play this draft from behind. Way more than we could say for most teams.
Yeah. I was actually just thinking, like, at least they have a plan.
Yeah.
Because there's
อยู่
a
ใน
lot
ยุ
of
คที่แบบ
teams, and honestly,
ดูซูเมล
like,
เป็น
I
แบบ
was
ดาว
thinking
รุ่ง
the
ขึ้น
same
มา
thing. I'm like, after the
จน
catastrophic
ซูเมล
mistake
แขวน
of
เมาส์
that
แล้ว
early game,
fuck
like, how do you ever get yourself back in? And having any sort of idea of how to fight back is better than nothing.
It goes back to the confidence as I'm going to hold my thought on this. We might have engaged. Looks like Lucy will think better of it. But it goes back to Showmaker saying 1 by 1. It goes back to the play against the crowd mentality that D+ have had since EWC. When they're underdogs, they like it. And in this game, they certainly are. They're going to look for a play here on this top side turret. They are literally just playing like DNS. This is actually crazy. And maybe DNS is behind all the time, so they kind of have to play like this. But D+ are emulating it really well.
Oh, Lucid not going to be allowed to go back home. Shiu is able to take this outer turret on the top side of the map, but Chovy is Chovying exceptionally hard.
รีไทร์ในโดต้าไม่มีจริงพี่อ๋อเพราะอย่างแบบท็อปซันก็แบบว่าก็กลับมาเล่นอยู่ดีใช่ปะ
199 CS to 135 as well at 18.5 minutes is not too bad here for the Rise. So he's going to be actualizing very, very soon.
Yes.
And I do not know what the counterplay to that is going to be.
It's really common for the Rise to be, for the Lock to be 50 CS behind, even in a winning game state, because you're just constantly roaming, you're constantly looking for picks. And if you're side laning, you're usually doing
ของ
it
แอล
wrong,
มัน
that
แบ
usually
บ
means you're
แม่ง
losing.
ดาวรุ่ง
In
ขึ้น
this
มา
game,
เรื่อยๆเลยเนาะ
Showmaker's
ซีวู
giving
นี่
a
ก็
little
แบบ
bit
เป็น
of
ดาว
that
รุ่ง
up to the
ขึ้นมา
teleport, but like you mentioned, it is a bad thing for team
คือ
fights.
เอาง่ายว่าโอเนอร์แม่งอายุยังน้อยอยู่เลยแม่งยังโดนดาวรุ่งเบียดเลย
A little bit less natural than 50 CS.
คือถ้าเกิดเป็นของดอทโอเนอร์น่าจะเล่นได้อีกแบบ6 ปีโดยไม่มีใครมาห้าม
Dragon fight. Herald also will be something they have to defend as we have a Ragnarok.
Oh, Lucid actually able to get towards the back of this pit. Does flash to get himself out of the way. Like you were saying, Ragnarok was invested into that, but not the biggest of cooldowns when there is a flash now down on Lucid.
ดาวรุ่งเลยพี่
well
โอ้โห
to escape, but like you say, a trade of ults and flash.
ถ้าเป็นของดอทนี่แม่งคือแบบว่า
good 4D plus here in the long term bad.
ถือเป็นดาวรุ่งแบบ
Lucid did not have that. I don't know if they'll be able to punish this Olaf at all.
Yeah, going to be a difficulty as you can see. Keen now parking himself towards his top lane. Showmaker doing his very best to actually collect some farm at least for now.
แต่เห็นแบบว่าคนไปโพสแบบว่าอะไรวะเทียปีนี้สนุกมากจับแล้วก็เป็นลูกไฟไฟกำลังหลับอยู่
Pretty cute that we've seen Jax's move towards this item as well. Seeing a lot of I think this might be a result of the pseudo nerf to the Sundered Sky.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be moving towards that one as well, getting more access to the Grandmaster's might, especially in the matchup against the Olaf.
The observers really want to show everyone that Chovy's about to have a
Showmaker Canyon Chovy เพิ่งพ้นดาวรุ่งมาเอง
now is completely legit, but he's about to have a legit 2-level lead, and possibly even a
เทียแข่งตอนไหนตอนนี้แข่งอยู่
It's like a 2 and a bit level lead.
Yeah.
That's kind of nuts. He's continuing to move towards his top side. We'll wait to see when that
คือถ้าเกิดสมมติว่าแชทพูดอย่างแบบสนุกไหมมันสนุกคือทีไอสนุกนะแต่ว่ามันต้องรอฟาร์มก่อนมันก็แค่ต้องปรับอะไรบางอย่างป่ะให้เกมมันฟาร์มน้อยลงให้เงินแม่งเยอะขึ้นก็ได้ให้เลเวลแม่งเยอะขึ้นเงินเยอะขึ้นแล้วแม่งฟาร์มน้อยลงไปเลยจากฟาร์มแบบต้องฟาร์ม15 หลุมก็แม่งแค่ฟาร์มแบบ4 หลุมพอแล้วก็บังคับให้สู้เลย
Chovy is at this top lane inhibitor turret, and there is like 2 plates left.
Yeah, you can't.
แต่บอกความเป็น Dota จริงเพราะ Dota เป็นเกมที่เป็นเกมที่แบบคอนเน้นเรื่องทรัพยากรนะเป็นเกมบริหารทรัพยากรอันนึงเลยก็ว่าได้คือมันต้องโซนแมปต้องหาพื้นที่ทรัพยากรให้ทีมได้แบบได้ฟาร์มหาของถ้าเสียพื้นที่ทรัพยากรนั้นก็เท่ากับเสียความได้เปรียบแล้วก็แพ้
super deep, which is too far to play on this map into a Pantheon. And the Pantheon Rise here can pinch you if you try to
จริงๆของ L มันก็ทรงแบบนั้นแหละโมบ้าก็เป็นทรงนั้นแต่ว่ามันของ L มันจะเป็นแบบคือช่วงแรกป่าจะฟาร์มได้แต่คือมันทำให้ป่าฟาร์มได้อย่างเดียวคือถ้าเกิดคุณเป็นแบบว่าท็อปเลนเลเวล8เลเวล6เลเวล7เงี้ยจะหันมาฟาร์มสักหลุมหนึ่งมีหลุมเดียวที่ได้คือหลุมแบบพวกแบบคือ ADC จะไม่มาฟาร์มอ่ะ ADC เดินผ่านหลุมได้โดยที่ไม่อยากจะแวะฟาร์มก่อนแป๊บนึงเลยไม่มีเลยเพราะว่ามันตีแรงเว้ยมอนมันตีแรงแล้วก็มันตียากแล้วเงินก็ได้ไม่เยอะไม่เป็นการใช้โทรศัพท์
because he does have 3 items that do represent the primary colors.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And he might take us through the rainbow, you know? Might be a Sterix next. A Spirit Surgeon next. Add a bit of green in there.
Yeah, he needs green.
Yeah, I know it's a tertiary color, but it feels primary, doesn't it?
I mean, the Boots of Lucidity also kind of representing a sort of a turquoise type vibe going on.
Yeah, this is like a cyan sort of
แต่กี้คิดไม่ค่อยออกก็เลยโทรมา
Otherwise it's red.
ทอมพูดไทยได้ก็เลยคุยกันรู้เรื่อง
This is what we're talking about here in this game because it's been really quite difficult for D+ to find any sort of angle back in. And yes, they grabbed some picks, but look at this.
ผมเชื่อนะกูถามจริง
Lulu gets arcane shifted and mystic shotted once, and that is an almost dead support.
The next thing to talk about here is can Gen.G take this dragon while also getting more on the map? or do they need to bring everyone here for a D+ contest
ดอทมันเป้าหมายมันเยอะจนแบบพี่ไม่เล่นด้วยแหละไม่รู้จริงว่ามันเป้ามันแต่พี่รู้แค่ว่ามันเป็นเกมที่แบบต้อง strategy โซนแบบโซนพื้นที่ฟาร์มไว้
Okay, season assist trying to get on top of Ruler, but the arcade shift timing's too good. Showmaker
Yeah,
dead
lock
before he
time
can do
now.
anything. As Shiu trying to get on top of him, but Ruler just kites it out. Gorgeously played by the Gen.G 80 carry. They'll take themselves a Cloud Soul, and if this game wasn't already over,
easy counter อย่างง่ายเลย วายแม่งจับเอสเรียลไม่ได้ แต่คิดถ้าวายโดนแบบตึงๆเข้าพร้อมกันมันแล้วแบบล็อกมาคือฆ่าได้แต่ว่ามันโดต้า2เนี่ยครับโดต้า1เล่นคล้าย LL ผมเลยเล่น LL มากกว่าโดต้า2เฮ้ยโดต้า2มันโดต้า2มันช่วงมันเชี่ยสมัยมาว่ะเฮ้ยลูซิด
God, D+ might be doing it, but there is Lucid taken down by this massive Olaf. Smash looking to kite it out.
เชียร์สแมทมา
Korea gets in front.
เชียร์สแมทไคติ้งไล่กับกอด
Makes his way back in. Is he going to find his
อุ้ยเกือบได้
He will not. As that is the ulti away from
แต่คิดถ้าลูซิดไม่ตายนี่ได้บาลอนนี่พลิกเลยนะเว้ยไม่ใช่เอาบาลอนอยู่ดีว่ะ
Now that vision I talked about career setting up was actually incredibly relevant because look at we're gonna go
แต่แพนดิออนอยู่นะแต่แพนดิออนไม่มีติ
this dragon fight for some reason I don't know why
ไอเชี่ยเอาจริงเหรอวะไอเชี่ยคือแพนดิออนโดดใส่ลูลูแม่งก็ตายแล้วอะเชี่ยโคตรเสี่ยงเลยวะ
No, we can. It's right there.
เสี่ยงสัตว์มาแล้ว
I can take.
No, I meant the Baron replay, but anyway, this because that's way more important.
Oh,
okay.
Here we go. Goodbye, Korea.
They have.
Smash and Showmaker do not have smite, exactly. 700 health, 700 health. Smash just kill it. There it goes. Shiu is now looking to run away. Lucid trying to get on in here. As over the wall he goes. Great Vault Breaker. And down goes Canyon. But Smash is also dead.
ตัดบาลอนตัดอะไรได้เยอะเลยว่าเงินได้ไปเยอะมาก
And most importantly, they take the Baron off the map.
Yeah. So are we going to do that Baron fight now? Okay, so look at this ward that I mentioned earlier from Career. Actually spots Duro. I was talking about like, oh yeah, he's going to get laid off when I was making the caster jokes because I thought it's a foregone conclusion, but it actually allows him to then they get loosened into the pit. He gets the wild throw. And now it's an awkward fight here for Gen.G. They're not in smite range. It's at 6k health, so they actually have to force the fight. The root hit smash from Chovy, and I thought for sure he's doomed, but he can kite it back. He has just enough damage to take the Olaf out. Actually crazy he's able to pull that off despite Chovy hitting an amazing route here. Career tries to shield this true shot barrage is unsuccessful.
แต่ก็แอบสงสัยนะตอนที่แบบว่าเฮาอะไรแม่งเลือกได้ว่าจะเอาสแมชหรือแบบหรือกูมายูชิอ่ะเขาเลือกน่าจะนะ
They get the Baron. Shiu here gets the outplay with the counter strike and they actually burst him down and everybody else gets out but Smash. So D+ survived with several Barons here.
Yeah, a bit of a sorry there from
แต่ว่าตอนนั้นมันได้คือถ้าเป็นเจ้าของบริษัทก็ต้องเฮ้ยเอา MVP เวอร์ดีวะให้ดีเคผมเถอะพี่ไม่คืออยากรู้ว่ามันแบบคือ
Well, he not only couldn't have impacted the Baron, but then looked for the play afterwards on the chase and just
น้องแม่ง
gets
โหดสัตว์เลยอะสแมทอะ
by Infinity. So I think he's frustrated.
You want to know though?
The initial part wasn't his fault.
There is a very important thing to talk about, and that is
แต่ว่ามันต้องมีความสบายใจด้วยมั้งคืออย่างเพสกดดันแบบกับทีมใหญ่มาแล้วมันเลยเหมาะกับทีวันไหมแต่สแมทแบบถ้าพูดจริงๆคืออยู่กับทีมกดดันหนักๆแบบเหมาะกับดีเคแล้วล่ะพี่ว่าสแมทต้องรอให้โตกว่านี้รอให้แบบว่าแบบมีแบบถ้าพูดตามตรงรอให้แบบมีอีโก้เยอะๆกว่านี้หน่อยคือแบบว่าเถียงได้อะ
It is crazy how much of an impact that one ward for Career made. He was able to then spot Duro. They actually saved that play. His wild growth timing insane there on Lucid's re-engage.
อ๋อกูมาขายเสื้อได้ชัวร์ว่ะมันไม่ได้แค่ซื้อนักแข่งมันซื้อแบบมันซื้อการตลาดด้วยนะ
D+ again 1 by 1 like Showmaker said 1 by 1 piece
โอ้ยทุกคนที่อยู่ในทีวันจะเว้นโดลาน
trying to get this game back and it's only a 2,000 gold lead at 27 minutes sure they're up against Cloud Soul
โดลานเป็นคนที่โลลบ100ถึง150ด้วยซ้ำเวลาเล่นอะโดลานอะโลแบบโลเยอะมากอะเทพเจ้าโซโล่คิวแกก็150เลย
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we saw like about 27, and we were
Yeah. And then there were just more chickens to come. So there's really no point until
I feel like
have them all sorted out.
The cuckoos from Zelda attacked us because we were poking the chickens a little too much on that one.
Yeah, don't just like start waving your sword around in Kakariko Village, okay? Don't do that. It is dangerous.
Well, Gen.G stabilizing here. You know, Ruler's on 4 items, has his Shojin's done now. Arm guard for safety here for
แต่สแมทขน
Jovi.
ตายยาวมาก
No
นะ
GA yet for
น่ามา
Keen.
ต่อที่ร้านพี่เหมือนกันนะ
Or I guess he's not going to be building
PJ.
this time. We'll be building the Sterex, but
Or the
I don't
Death
let-
Dance.
or sorry, Death Dance is the word. I
ต่อ
was
นี่เลิศเลย
looking for. Thank you.
But third item Sterix
Third
has
item.
been a thing more recently.
Yeah, optional. But Death Dance is what he's likely going for. He doesn't have that yet. Arm guard also bought here for Shiyu. We could give him another counter strike in a team fight. Let's see if he walks into a trap here, though.
Oh, Keen and Chovy. Oh,
Yo.
he does get the ward down, but this is still going to be a very difficult
Yeah,
moment because he
yeah,
doesn't
man,
have his
whole
flash
sat
available.
like-
Chovy just going to prevent him
คือไล
having
ฟ์
any
แอชชูเลเซอ
opportunity
ร์
to
ล็อก
get
ขา
over
คือแบบ
this wall.
แม่ง
And
แจ็คมันสู้ไม่ได้เว้ย
Keen and Chovy
คือแม่ง
grab
ชอบแบบ
themselves
เป็น
the pick
ไลฟ์
onto
กับ
Jax. 45
โอลาฟอะ
seconds.
That could be an inhibitor.
คือแจ็คมัน
here,
เคาน์เตอร์
just
ได้
on
แค่
the play itself,
โอลาฟ
because they have such a big push here with this
เจอไลฟ์มันแบบ
wave,
ล็อก
and they
ขา
have
คิ
control
ว
of this Pantheon in the mid lane.
But there's also
แล้วก็
an Elder
EQ
Dragon
มันก็
that's
แบบ
coming up in
จะตายแล้ว
33
อะ
seconds now, and that's about as long as it's going to take Shiyu to respawn. I think he may have the teleport available, but if Showmaker dies, oh my goodness. Okay, Ashen Pursuit does get himself out of there. And D plus Kia need to be so careful in this 4v5 scenario. Gen.G setting up the siege.
ยังไม่ได้
This
อี
turret
อ่ะ
is
น้อง
not
อ่ะ
going to last very long, and down it will go. They're not going to bite off more than they can chew. You can feel it, can't you?
Yeah.
They are playing so much more measured now
Absolutely.
after that disaster that just happened around the Baron.
4 seconds till Elder. D plus actually have the vision around it. And one of those wards was just replaced, so they had 3 and they only have 1 now. There's
Oh
gonna be a
my
TP here
God.
from Jax. Like, they actually have Prio, at least. They have Prio on this Elder. This is crazy.
Immediate teleport from Shiyu gets him over there. He's got an arm guard as well.
These wards have been so high value. Now, this one will be cleared, and he is known. It is known that he's flanking here. They don't know exactly where he is, so they have to play it slow.
Yeah. They did their pull bay research, and Shiyu is now going to have to leap strike his way out. Undertow is going to miss, but Keen still running after him.
D plus have Prio, but they still will have to win the ensuing fight in order to secure this Elder. They can't start it right now.
เฮ้ยเริ่ม
They're
กลัว
too
ส
far
แมทว่ะ
behind.
I think the one thing that D Plus have been really good at is understanding the ebb and flow, right? As they chase Shiyu out of there, the rest of D Plus are moving down. You can see them on the minimap. Immediately following, they see Chovy moving over. They see Keen coming in, and Shiyu, looking for the angle, he finds the stun onto Ruler, but he is able to get himself out of there. Now Chovy flashes on top. Showmaker just dead as this Olaf is going ballistic, and all of D Plus are just going to get routed. It was a cute little idea. It was a fun play around the Baron, but it's become all business for Gen.G, and they've just closed up shop.
D plus were kind of
All
like
right.
annoying mosquitoes flying around Gen.G, and they were eventually swatted down in this final moment. I liked how you mentioned the ebb and flow, the push and pull of Shiyu trying to pull them away from the Elder so they could force their way in and have that prio. But Gen.G were looking for a fight, and a fight is what they got. Chovy celebrates by breaking his arm guard here in a very close game, much closer than anyone anticipated. Gen.G are able to take the win here.
A very close stomp is what I'll call it.
Yeah, it was a stomp like I predicted, but it got a little closer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but ultimately, at least Gen.G faced some challenges in the mid to late game, maybe more of the all of the late game there. As D plus were able to straight up outplay them on the Baron, and that got them a second lease on life, sort of, but the main lead still remained. The team composition was still online, and that lock in the final team fight did less than nothing.
Smash his Lucian. Most teams are banning it away from him. I do think it's a good idea. No
เด็ก
Cassiopeia just yet.
เด็กสไตล์
As
เทม
blue side here
เท
for
ม
D
โปก็ประมาณ
plus,
นี้แหละ
first
พี่
pick and blue side. 4D plus Gia means they have first pick for that, so they don't have to ban it. Galio's taken away, so if you ban Cassiopeia, Showmaker gets Orianna, so I think we're going to see a bit of a trade here.
สิ่งที่เด็กอันนั้นเกลียดมากที่สุดเลยหรือปะ
Maybe they just ban Jarvan.
สิ่งที่เด็กออโรราแม่งเกลียดมาก
Be
สุด
an
เลยหรือ
option.
ปะ
We'll see what they do
แม่ง
decide
คือ
to do. Could be something completely
Star
off the
Cross.
wall. Yeah, the Jarvan will be the ban.
I think that makes sense for a trade. If I'm Showmaker, I prefer the Cassiopeia here, I think.
คือลง
It's
เอลเดอร์
just
มา
so
ปุ๊บอะ
strong, so
แล้วสตาร์คอ
powerful,
ร์สยกขึ้นไป
pairs with
แม่ง
so
แบบ
many
ไอ้
different double picks.
สัตว์เอ้ย
There's no Nocturne,
ไม่ใช่
obviously
พัง
no
เกียร์แต่เป็น
Jarvan.
สตาร์คอร์ส
So going for Orianna can still work, but it's not as powerful as it could otherwise be.
I do think locking down the Cassio could be a good idea because I think they'd want a Lee Sin for Lucid as far as the next jungler on the tier list. And Cassio can be hard to play into as the Lee. So it could be an option to just lock that one away and then try and get your Lee Sin next round. That's looking like their plan here so far.
I suppose they could have considered a Lee Sin first pick and then gone Lee Sin Orianna into the Cassiopeia themselves, but they decided not to. Which means Canyon probably is going to get his hands on the Lee Sin here with the Orianna on the other side.
That's if they want to play into Miasma with it.
Yeah, it's tricky, but I think it is quite powerful still. If you play it well, Cassiopeia is still very immobile regardless. Right. So could just be Xin Zhao here for the Orianna pairing, as that's the last likely jungler that's going to be picked up here that isn't the Lee Sin. Does walk into a Trundle counter pick, but we have seen that work very rarely these days, even though it's still picked a lot.
Yeah.
They're actually going to take the Bard here in a split bottom lane.
Okay.
Let's see if Smash and Career are willing to take a Caitlyn lane, for example, to deny that pairing here, or if they're just going to accept this and look for jungle and a strong top pick here for Shiu. Looking for that Lee Sin I was talking about.
Yeah, just going to stick to the plan by the looks of things. So Lee Sin and maybe... Oh, never mind.
You're playing into Canyon's Skarner potentially as well if you do pick the Lee Sin.
It's a good point.
As against any other team, I think it'd feel pretty good to blind this, but against Gen.G, definitely some second thoughts.
กินนมกล่องใช้หลอดด้วยอันนี้ติดหรูหรือไม่อย่างไรครับ
That is the big question. How much they value getting that good pairing with the Bard, because you will lose that option.
อันนี้เรากินหรูพี่นะพวกเรามีกันไก่พี่ไม่มีกันไก่
like throwing out the Lee Sin.
เรากินหรูพี่
I
แหละ
do also like the idea of blind picking your top lane here as well for D+, because Gen.G can only pick so many things. This is a very cool one. Seeing the Camille come back towards the top lane a whole lot more on this patch and can still be flexed into that bottom lane if they want to.
เราหรูพี่แล้วเพราะเรามีฟัน
very good if
พี่
it's
ไม่มี
Camille
ฟัน
support, but again less likely as you were mentioning. And I think there's just not a whole lot of lanes you can play into this, even if they go for like Jin Karma. It's
พี่ดูลิปเปล่าที่บาร์เซโลนาไหมครับ
I mean, great, and they
เอา
can
จริ
just
งไม่
ban
รู้
the
ว่าดูได้
Karma
ด้วย
and not have to worry
ซ้ำ
about it
ดู
even slightly.
ได้ใหม่ห
I
รือเปล่า
would
นะ
prefer not to have this be a
แม่งเลย
just
ต้อง
clear
เดี๋ยวต้องไปถามก่อน
2-0
พวก
from
นี้
the
มัน
draft. Well,
เขา
the
อะไร
Ziggs
เยอะ
though
ไง
is
จะ
going
โด
to
น
be
แบน
banned
ช่อง
away
อีก
first. And what are we getting rid of
They
as
ban?
far as the... I mean, maybe you just get rid of Skarner and then whatever one top lane champion you don't want to deal with.
Skarner 1,000%, I think, in this ban spot, but everything else a little bit more open-ended. You could ban Skarner and Jarvan and just be like, you're playing something awkward here in the jungle.
จริงโดนแล้วพี่ยังไม่รู้ตัว
As the Ziggs ban, it's not because Ziggs necessarily pairs incredibly well with the Camille. It's just a bottom laner that can sit back and farm while you play through topside, where your Camille is and has TP.
Yep.
Feels like a great ban.
It allows your Camille to roam as well a whole lot better. Yeah. This was our first Camille lane that we really saw starting to pop off towards MSI times.
Exactly. So they just don't want to allow that. There's the Jin. So leaving the Karma, but not really any strong pairings left for it. If it's Sivir Karma with this draft, it'll feel so bad.
I knew Ryu was my favorite coach.
อย่างชอบแชทช่องหลักออร่า
Gorgeously done.
doesn't require any brain power
to prevent that from coming through for Canyon.
Wouldn't mind it.
Otherwise, what do you hate to play against this Camille top? If you show that ban, I don't think there's anything right now in this meta that you want to play in this situation, but if you show that ban, it makes it very clear what you're doing. As just banning Vayne isn't as obvious because that's good into basically everything right now, so leaving your options open, you could still play some more support.
ออร่าไม่ใช่การที่แย่นะแต่แบบเทิร์น3มึงลงสนามมันบ้ามาก
Well,
คือ
is going to have to give away one of these options, probably.
แล้วแม่งก่อนลงมาแล้วซาโบทาดด้วยแล้วแม่งแบบทำลายเกียร์ก่อนแล้วแม่งค่อยลงเร็วเลย
This is why Gen.G chose second pick. They get to have this option. Goes in Zhao and then say, all right, let's see. What are you bluffing or is it just Camille top?
What could they also
แล้วเขาลงในเทิร์น
Maybe
เขา
they
อะ
just
ถ้า
make
เราไม่มีสเปล
Shen
ขัดเลย
something
อะ
and then just put whichever one in the top
แล้ว
lane
เทมโพลารี่
you want
มัน
to
ใช้
play.
ไม่ได้ด้วยปะ
I
ไอ้
love
ทำลาย
that.
เกียร์แบบเทมโพลารี่อะ
I'm hoping
ยังไงก็
that
จะ
is
เอลเดอร์
going
1
to be
ตัว
the idea here.
แม่งเร็วมากอะ
Playing Shen into Bard Caitlyn doesn't sound very fun. Playing Camille into it also doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
Maybe some sort of
แต่
Karma
มันก็
lane is
แพ้
what
อา
they
กา
need.
ลีอยู่
Like Sivir Karma feels so hard to play.
So bad, but I guess they might have to.
Oh,
what about playing bottom lane Cassiopeia?
Or bottom lane Victor. Smash did start his mage bottom lane
เทิร์น
career
3เอลเดอร์
playing
แม่งก็เทิร์น
Victor.
4เคนเล่นเทิร์น 4 บาลอน
team
บาลอนพี่ว่ายังมีวิธี
to
จัดการได้อยู่นะ
playing mages bottom lane. They did at EWC.
แต่ไอ้นั่นนี่แม่งหลุดโลกจริง
But we're going back to it.
Slam me the Varus. Shiu, give us an 80 carry on the Rift. All right, it's a very short
อะไร
range
อะ
80
พอ
carry
มิ
that
สฟอร์จูน
sometimes gets too angry.
อ๋อหมายถึงว่าดาเมจของมิสฟอร์ตีไอ้นั่นเหรอของสกิลเหรอไอ้ของไอ้นี้ปะ
This as a counter pick is still available.
ก็คือ
And I have a feeling Keen is pretty interested in
No,
that
don't do it.
response. He could also just play Ambessa. They've got a great comp. It's gonna be a good ball carrier. Twisted Fate, a classic. And so a player who's known to do this, he and Zeus really making this a thing years back into the NAR. I hate to say it, but I think we have to acknowledge it. Once again, D+'s draft leaving us
each
with
player look top 5 card
I don't want to say
main deck and
confusion,
choose
just
one.
a little bit of disappointment because it feels so obviously kind of stunted by its comp win
ก็คือ
cons.
เลือก
Like last
เลือกมา
game
หนึ่
we
งใบ
had it has to get ahead, it has to do this, has to do this. In this game, it's like, well, it has to scale, it has to be stable. But you're playing into a Caitlyn Bard lane.
And
You're playing into a you're blinded in our top.
And you're also always going to be outranged. It is kind of ridiculous. They cannot let Ruler run away with this game. And the problem is, we saw the kind of form
ถ้า
that
เข้า
player was
ถ้าเข้า
in
วงการ
game number
ว
1.
งการ
It
นี้
was
ผม
kind
มี
of
50 ทู
absurd.
จะ
He
ได้
was
กี่ใบ
running
ครับเติม
circles
อย่าง
around
ที่บอก
them
คือเติมเน็ต
on the
แล้วเรา
Ezreal.
เล่น
And his Caitlyn,
เล่นแบบ
I
ออน
feel
ไล
like
น์ไป
we only just saw one of his huge highlight clips on that pick as well. Something that he's been finding a lot of success on more recently. So I think we could be cruising towards another very difficult game here for D+.
You know, I mentioned it earlier. I think we've given CU Max a lot of credit, but I also said when D+ fall with him, they fall hard. You know, they fall together. Today's best of 3 kind of feels like that sort of situation. At least the lineup is there. They played well in game 1 despite the deficit. They may have to do it again here in game 2, but hopefully for them, walk away with a W.
Yeah, let's just hope there are no catastrophic mistakes in the first few minutes of this game. Let's get into the rift for game 2.
DK หรือ Gen.G ครับวันนี้ Smashy เล่นวิกเตอร์วะเขาที่เราเล่นแล้วแพ้นะ
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for game number 2 of our Saturday showdown. DK backs against the wall. They're gonna need
เอาจริงถ้าอยากจะได้1เด็กแบบพร้อมเล่นต้องลงทุนกี่บาทหลักๆประมาณ 3,000 ประมาณ 3,000 คือเราจะได้เด็กหนึ่งแน่ๆแหละ 3,000
It's not his favorite thing.
ขึ้นอยู่กับเด็กนั้นเราชอบ
So we've talked about it so much, but when you're playing mage into AD carry, you have to line something up with your support and get a good bursty trade. In this case, you gotta hope to like
คือ
get a
3,000 เนี่ย
field to land while you've got the hook shot coming through. So you
เอา
gotta
จ
start
ริ
with
ง
the gravity field. You do
มันขึ้นอยู่
something
กับ
like
เราชอบ
that, which you can't do at level
เราเล่นเด็ก
1.
ไหน
Then
ได้
you
แหละ
can kind of get
สมม
enough
ติพี่
damage
ต่อ
done
ใน
to where you
คร่าวๆ
can
นะ
continue to trade.
สมมติเราเล่นอา
Otherwise,
เซียใช่ป่ะ
the AD carry
เรา
presses
กด
the buttons while you press
ใน
your buttons. But
เม
the AD
ตา
carry kept shooting.
ปุ๊บใช่ป่ะ
And when
เรา
they
ก็
have
แบบ
range
อาจจะอัน
support
นี้
like this, with electrocute, you can't win trades.
เราก็ไปที่
actually. So
ดิฟบาวนี่แหละ
with the MR
แล้วก็
that's
เด็
been
ก
added to our marksman here
แล้ว
as
ก็
well,
นิว
it
เด็ก
just it
แล้วก็
feels
อาจจะเนี่ย
bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
I feel like we've explained this 1,000
Copy
times,
deck,
but every time
please.
it happens, we have to be like, well, let's go back through the reasons why this probably isn't a good idea.
นี่เราก็จะรู้ราคาละเนี่ยเห็นป่ะ
And thankfully, Gen.G are probably going to do a better job than us at demonstrating exactly how difficult this has now become.
I personally also prefer the Cassiopeia bottom because you can play. Okay, here we go. Bit of a trade.
For an angle towards
เนี่ย
Duray.
เราก็เอาเว็บนี้ไปก็ได้
Utilizing the
พี่เซ
slightly
ฟไว้
buffed Hextech sweep here. Try and do a bit of extra damage.
Meta-
Duray looking somewhat worse for wear.
card.
This is a benefit though. The fact that
com.
Showmaker now actually has a good matchup here in the
Meta
mid lane
card.
against this Orianna.
เชื่อมันยาวไปวะ
And
ลิง
another
มัน
hook
ยาว
shot
จัด
wall dive is going to connect. Duro taking a bit of damage, but Ruler is now getting involved, getting these traps down, but Korea not going to step on them just yet. As Duro may actually just go back, grab some Coco.
They can't extend the trades. Like they're doing exactly what I was
ไป
talking
ดูได้
about.
เผื่อ
Reverse
เผื่อแบบ
trades.
บางคน
And
อยาก
it's going
ตัดสินใจไม่ได้
as well as
อยาก
it
เล่นด้วย
can,
แล้วก็อยากเก่ง
but it's
ด้วย
just not
แล้วก็แบบ
well
ไม่อยาก
enough
แพงด้วย
because as you
เราเข้าเว็บนี้มา
staying there for the bar, not some
แล้วเราก็
traps
แบบ
set up to prevent Korea
เนี่ย
from making
ดู
a play like
ที
that.
ละอันอ่ะสมมติว่า
It
เมื่อกี้เราพิติกอาเซียใช่ป่ะ
Lucid
อัน
is
นี้ก็ดูมาซะ
nearby,
ยี
but
เราก็ดูว่าเขาไปแข่งที่ไหนมา
let's
บ้าง
see how aggressive
ปั๊บ
they get with no vision.
แล้วก๊อปการ์ดไปแล้วก็ไปลองเทสในเว็บ
That's kind of crazy. As Lucid
ลิฟ
looks
แอ
for
ด
the
ลาส
angle, they get on top of Duro. Everyone's flashed. And the ghost
ไป
is
ลอง
now
ติ๊กใน
bumped
ลิฟ
here
แอ
for
ดลาส
Ruler.
เพื่อดูว่าแบบมันราคาประมาณเท่าไหร่ แล้วก็เทียบกับราคาประมาณนั้นได้ ประมาณนั้นได้
My work here is done.
I think Canyon's going to say the same
แค่เรียน
thing.
ใช้เฮลเบดอยู่มันดาเมจหายไปเยอะ
Wasn't able to get down
แต่
here fast enough. I didn't
แต่
think they
พี่
were
ว่า
going
ดี
to
ก
go
ว่า
for the play, but they actually do get the
อย่า
punish.
งอื่น
And this will actually impact the lane significantly as Smash and Korea could stay here, get some additional farm, and will only find themselves a little bit down in
ผม
CS.
เชียร์ซื้อ
Yeah,
ลิฟ
trying to
บาว
get the
พรู
backstop
วิ่ง
here onto
กาว
Ruler,
อี
but
ดิ
will
ชั่น
be
ไปก่อน
successful. He is flashless,
อ๋อคือ
but,
อันนี้ก็จะเป็น
Fortunately,
อีก
Korea's not able to get close enough to
อีกหนึ่ง
impact
ช่อง
him
ทาง
there.
ก็
It
คือ
will be a plate.
potentially
แบบว่า
here.
เราซื้อ
Not
แบบ
quite on this
เป็น
wave.
แบบเบ
I
สิ
think
ก
they should be able to
แต่
stick
แต่
around.
ถ้าให้พี่แนะนำนะ
Teleport, so we can be back to lane whenever he likes.
คือเกียร์จะแนะนำอย่างนี้แต่พี่
Gives them a little bit more
ข้ามเลย
flexibility when it
ไม่ต้อง
comes
ซื้อ
to going
ไม่ต้องไปซื้อ
through
เด็ก
resets.
สตาร์เตอร์อะไรพวก
I
นี้
like this from D+.
เราเล่นเราซื้อเด็กนี้ไปเลย
Ruler and Duro were
มัน
able
เป็นเด็ก
to
เบื้องต้นจริงแต่สุดท้ายแล้วเบื้องต้นปุ๊บเสียเพิ่มอีก
predict
อยู่ดี
Lucid's gank there and back off. They
สุดท้ายมันเสีย
walk
เพิ่มอ
away
ยู่ดี
from
ไง
it
สุดท้ายมัน
so
ยัง
good
มัน
about
ก็คือแบบ
state.
เสียเงินสอง
As it turns
รอบ
out
อะ
now, they still have a small lead, like you mentioned. The TP is there, but it's not.
เหมือนเราอยากโดนค่าแรกเข้าหรือเปล่า
Also flashless, so
หรือเราแบบว่า
follow-up
ก็เล่นแบบ
ganks,
อันให
which
ม่
are
ไปเลย
unlikely, but still
แต่
possible.
พี่ต้องบอก
It's certainly a
ตาม
problem.
ความเป็นจริงนะ
Obviously,
ว่า
Lucid's
มันยังไม่
half
จ
top
บนะ
side.
สำหรับการ์ด 3,000 ที่เราได้มา
So he won't be down here,
เพราะเรา
so they
ต้อง
could
ซื้อ
just
ซอง
make
มา
some
ใส่
retreat, but
เราต้องซื้อกล่องมาใส่มันเราคงไม่ใส่ถุงเซเว่นไปเล่น เราอาจต้องซื้อพวกลูกเต๋ามันอาจจะโดนจิปาถะไปอีกหลายพัน
We
นะ
haven't really looked at
ประมาณ
the top side of the map right now,
1,000-2,000
but it's obviously a disaster.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit tough here for Shu right now.
ยังไงเรา
I
ต้องมี
really
ซื้อซอง
did
ใส่
like that ping. You just
แต่มัน
saw
เป็น
it, like
ของ
the
ที่
danger
เราจ่าย
ping
รอบเดียวไง
exactly where Korea was
รอบเดียวไหม
making his way out of
คือ
base. They knew
จ่ายรอบเดียวก็ได้ถ้าเราไม่ได้อัปเดตเด็กมันก็เล่นได้เรื่อยๆไปตามร้านเล่นแบบได้เรื่อยๆเลย
knows exactly what's going to be coming here, so everyone can stay safe. You were talking about it before, but the scaling on both sides is pretty good. But I think that Gen.G very happy for this game to go late. Obviously, ADTF in the top lane is a bit of a weird one.
ใช่
but
เหมือนถ้าเราซื้อ
Orianna,
ใช่เราก็ต้องมีฟิล์ม
even the Zins
นู่
out
นนี่
just
นะ
get better and better with age.
คีนนี่เป็นแบบต้นตำรับของ Twitter Fate Top Lane เลยโคตรชอบเลย
Zin, but what you have is Tempered Fate, which is a really long-range ultimate that can set up your shockwave very easily. And if it hits multiple targets, it gets even better. So maybe the bar is the real ball carrier here is Duro.
ไอ้พวกการแบนเขาแบนทำไมล่ะครับบางทีมันกลายเป็นเรื่องของแบบ
Nothing too big
มัน
from this. We'll just
มัน
force
เก่ง
it
เกิน
back. And this game state
ก็เลยแบน
is pretty quiet, but the small advantage picked up here in lane can be felt. Big one here for Showmaker.
อย่างนึกภาพไหมว่ามันจะมีฟิลหนึ่งบอกว่า
The Orianna, so even though I was saying earlier that
ใน
the
เกมนี้
Cassidy has more consistent damage
ต้องใช้
than
9 แต้มเพื่อชนะ
but you gain
และเล่นกับ
mid lane
ลองนึกภาพว่าเล่นกับ
is definitely
ไอ
significant.
เจดออโรราเมื่อกี้
And the problem
เราแม่ง
is
หาได้
everywhere
3-4 แต้ม
else,
ก็เหนื่อยแล้วเพราะแม่งก็จะตอดเราอยู่งั้นอ่ะแล้วมันได้ออโรรามาปุ๊บแม่งก็คือเราก็คือไม่ทันแล้วอ่ะเราที่จะชนะมันก็ยากมาก
So we'll see what the build is going to look like. The attack speed variant.
มันก็เป็นการadjust meta แบบ
can work out
อะไร
very,
ที่
very
มันโกง
well.
ไปก็แค่
Now
แบ
we
น
have
ในทัวร์
a lot of
ก็ถือว่าแบน
they were
มันก็
gonna
จบละ
backstop.
Yeah, Ruler is actually taking a fair bit of
ก็ยัง
damage
คง
here.
แรงอยู่นะเฮลเบด
Next tech sweep doing a fair bit of work. Duro will make his way back, but Ruler without any summoner spells.
This is pretty big actually because this may allow them to just get the dragon with no contest. I think it will with the mid prior
ดิ
they
ก
have.
ตอนนี้กี่บาทแล้ว
So
พี่
Career
พี่
kind of
กี่บาท
just
แล้ว
walks up here and says, "I'm going to be annoying."
ไม่รู้เลยแต่ว่าเดี๋ยวว่า
And
จะ
Ruler
เริ่ม
commits in
ทำ
and
ร้าน
gonna stop their back
การ์ด
and
ขายละ
give
การ์ดอันไหนที่ไม่
smash
ใช้
on his
ขาย
tower.
ได้ว่ะ
Still hasn't teleported by the way.
คือ
so
การ์ด
has
พวก
that
แบบ
summoner spell
ลักโอ
still
เวอร์
in
นัม
tow
เบอ
for
ร์
potential
เอเม
fight
ซ่า
later
โอเวอร์
on
นัมเบอร์
elsewhere
เนี่ยเอเม
on
ซ่า
that
ไม่ได้อยาก
Atlas
รู้สึกไม่ได้อยากเล่นเอเมซ่า
back, so feeling very good. But I was just gonna say, you know, we have the
เลยว่าเดี๋ยวจะ
stacks
จะ
counter
ขาย
for a
ทิ้ง
lot of champions.
Yeah,
ร้าน
I wish
เจกิฟ
Twisted Fate just had one on what is average extra gold he's got.
The average roll.
ท่านได้เล่นหมดราคาไม่ได้เล่นหมดราคากูไม่รู้จริงๆว่าราคาเท่าไหร่แล้ว
Yeah, like 5.5. What the heck?
คือเริ่มต้นมัน 6,000 ก่อน
That'd
แล้ว
actually be very cool. LCK get on it.
คือมันก็ซื้อการ์ดมาเพิ่มแต่การ์ดมันไม่ได้ใช้ไงบางทีการ์ดมันเอามาใส่แค่ใบเดียวแต่ซื้อมา3 ใบเลยอะไรอย่างเงี้ยมันก็ไม่รู้นับไหมอะไรอย่างเงี้ยแล้วการ์ดใช้ไปใบหนึ่งอนาคตอาจจะใช้เป็น2 ใบอะไรอย่างเงี้ยมันงงไปหมดไงมันเลยในหัวมันเลยแบบงงเลยทีนี้
Yeah, the guy he's playing against is cheating. Often does have an ace up his sleeve.
แกงพี่นอกจากพี่โปรจิมีใครเล่นออร่าไหมครับตอนแรกเหมือนจะไม่เท่าที่ไม่มีใครไม่เห็นเลยนะ
Merc Treads done here for Shu. Still looking
แกงพี่ยังไม่มีอยู่แล้วแต่ว่าคนอื่นในนั้นนะพี่ไม่ชัวร์เหมือนกันแต่ว่าไม่ค่อยเห็นพี่โปรจิเล่นนี่แหละคือมันก็เป็นอะไรที่แบบเพลิดเพลิน
Chovy is gonna have to play respectfully, but he is Orianna, so we'll just be totally fine.
พี่บ่วงโดนไปวันเดียวโดนไป 8,000 พี่ว่าเรานับอย่างนั้นไม่ได้อะคือพี่บ่วงไปซื้อการ์ดไคสะมันก็เกินครึ่งแล้วอะมัน 6-7,000 แล้วไคสะ
That's what he's known for is the sleight of hand and all that.
Yeah.
คือไคสะ3 ใบละ 2,000 อะไรเงี้ยมันก็ 6,000 แล้วอะและแกซื้อแบบมีสกินแกซื้อแบบว่าติดนั่นด้วยแกแบบเอาสวยด้วยอะไรเงี้ยแล้วการพวกนี้เราซื้อมาปุ๊บอะมันก็ขายได้ถ้าเราไม่เล่นจริงๆเราก็ขายแต่เราก็คงไม่ขายหรอกเพราะว่าเราเล่น
Canyon takes the first one. She is moving on over though. The Nabar in a great spot. as Korea possibly able to get something done here as well. Level behind Duro, but Duro doesn't have Tempered Fate available just yet. And Canyon is just taking these grubs right in front of them. That is just all of them down. DK haven't yet made a play, as now Canyon could be in a little bit of trouble. Lucid gonna get that kick into the wall. And Shiu gets himself out of there, throws his ultimate to Narnia, and now Lucid gonna have to just safeguard his way out. That's a great wallop, but I don't think Shiu is gonna be safe from this one. And there is Keen locking down the kill. Another one going over to Canyon as well. Gen.G just finding everything they want, stunned against the wall, and it's a double kill for Keen's Twisted Fate in this top lane. He's looking to grab himself a little bit of red card value here.
มันโยนคิวโดนเลยวิ่งเร็วเมื่อกี้
is able to make his way out.
Well, D+ greeted pretty hard Atlas on that one, and it did not pay off.
LL ไปเกมฟาร์มพี่บ่งก็เล่นนะ
It looks like D+ are just waiting for something as Duro's not.
LL เกมฟาร์ม9 นาทีมันก็ซัดกันขนาดนี้พี่ว่ามันก็มันแล้วนะ
Smash will be all right though.
Good placement, keeping Ruler at bay.
Yep,
chases easily. But if we get a chance to watch that replay, you guys will notice that D+ are waiting for something. They're kind of like just letting Canyon have the grubs. And that limiting factor was the Gnar bar for Shiu. They're all trying to line all of this up. So look at this fight again. Shiu almost has his Gnar. Canyon gets this second grub without smiting. So he's like, all right, it's pretty much all three guaranteed. And when they get the Gnar bar, he's just chain CC'd and then pushed down. And D+ go for the fight on the other side. Canyon has crescent guards, so they can't win that side of the fight. Shiu's just left alone. And D+ were trying to just do too many things in this fight with Showmaker coming over on the right side.
เหตุผลที่พี่แบบว่าไม่ค่อยอยากเล่นเอสเรียลเพราะว่าแบบคือพอเจอเด็กพี่บ่วงแม่งเด็กส้มที่มันเอาไว้นั่นไปอ่ะแม่งรู้สึกแบบเหนื่อยอ่ะขี้เกียจเล่นแล้วแล้วก็เลยไปหายูนิตสีฟ้าลงมาเอายูนิตอะไรเพิ่มมันก็เพิ่มไม่ค่อยได้อ่ะเอสเรียลแต่เวทคนแคร์
And yeah, unfortunately for Ruler, he just wasn't there, so Gen.G were just killing people without him. Yeah, it was basically just cheerleading. That's what G-Sun explained. Yeah. So, yeah, Ruler unfortunately not able to grab a few extra kills for himself to try and reach that milestone.
Yeah, I don't know how many actually he ended up with a total in that last game, so I don't know how many left.
Wasn't that many. I think he's got over 10 to go, so it's going to be a tough game to get all of them here.
I'm sure someone will update us on that, but... We'll get that counter for you guys as soon as we can. By the way, he's sitting at 0 right now. Not the early explosive start for him that he had in Game 1.
And Chovy as well has picked up a couple of assists after this. It's been a bit of a slow game. Obviously, as Oriana, you are going to take your time. The Kraken Slayer is now done for Keen. 2-0-0 on the TF. And you can see, like, the CS lead has not changed, but he's now 1.3k ahead. It's now Ruler gonna have to flash away. Lucid looks for the angle, but the net was too good alongside the flash, and Ruler will be able to make his way out.
เพย์ออฟที่เขา3 อันดับไปเวิร์ถูกป่ะ
All right, Hextech ultimatum gonna pull Duro out of his magical journey, and Lucid tags him with the Q. The bard should be going down. Safeguard's
แต่3 อันดับนั้นคือไม่นับเขาว่าอะไร
is on the board.
คือหมายความว่าถ้าเกิดเขาอะไรมันติด1 ใน 3แล้วมันมีอันดับที่4อันดับที่4ก็ได้ไป
Chovy wants to stick around here, but I don't think he should, especially with that push in mid. He's not going to be able to accomplish anything even with the shockwave. So just leaves, and now is just going to have to catch this wave. So they don't get the kill onto Ruler. Well, they're able to get his sums, and then with that kick in toe, they make the turn happen. And Gen.G were just trying to bite off a little bit too more than they could chew there on that play, but the timing of the ultimate there for Career Fantastic is able to prevent Duro, even with his magical journey, from getting away.
Yeah.
Without the support there, it was just not a fight that was ever going to be winnable without Chovy being able to join and Ruler being pushed away. So clean fight. We'll watch it again. So after the escape of Chovy isn't here yet. Duro's like, I want out of this situation now. Gen.G who were rotating over to try to get a punish on that thing on the gateway.
ไม่ใช่สนามตัวตีไก่อ่ะเสียดายครับ
And with a really nice ult from Career, as mentioned, it's just a freebie here for D+.
Oh, Shiu is also now just dead, as without the help of the turret, there is nothing he can do. So that is another kill going over to Keen, or actually it's a kill going over to Duro. But an assist over to Keen and a whole lot of map control.
Yeah, and Keen, he is pretty large. He's going for 80 Twisted Fate because that's what you do in top lane. And so he is just incredibly fed early with this Kraken Slayer. And is likely setting up here to get first turret because there's just no answer right now. Shiu doesn't have teleport. If they try to overextend here to kill this Twisted Fate, he can't just ult away. So it's a waste of time for D+ to stop him. He's just got them in this really uncomfortable spot here.
He's got tons of vision as well in the enemy jungle, so he knows that if they're rotating up, he can just go away. He still just plays it safe here and lets the turret deny CS rather than going for first brick right now. Frankly, he doesn't really need that much more money.
No. He has gone steel caps, though. So, I mean, that's good for a double AP composition. DK kind of all right with that, but this is going to be an issue that's going to come up as this game goes on. It's the whole consistent damage problem. As Duro comes on over and just turns off the turret.
He knows the Camille's in the mid lane, so he knows that this magical journey is safe to take.
Yep.
As, just clean using the ult to disable the turret. Very free play there.
Welcome back, Ohm Wrecker. Heck yeah. All right, Ruler is going to take some death ray damage, and Smash is in a pretty good spot here in this game. Does have the only gold lead for his team. And so I think a lot are going to be looking to him to try and win these late game fights. And honestly, him and Showmaker do have a lot of damage potential.
ดู YouTube ลิปเปล่ามีถ่ายทอดสดแข่งอยู่ที่บาร์เซโลนาเผื่อพี่สนใจหลังดูแข่งจบได้
That much frontline here for Gen.G either. They have a lot of damage, but if their Caitlyn gets to that trough, the Orianna doesn't have consistent damage output, so a lot of the weight will have to be carried by CC chains and really strong finesse in the team fights, which
จริงๆอ่ะถ้าเราอยากจะเป็นนักแข่งแบบว่าเล่นสู้คนอื่นได้ดีอ่ะเราต้องเล่นตัวในเมตาให้แม่งแบบเด็กจริงๆต้องเล่นทุกเด็กแหละแต่แบบอย่างน้อยเด็กเมตาเราต้องเล่นลำเป็น
They have said finesse. They are pushing the bottom lane right now, which leaves them a little bit weak elsewhere.
Yeah, Ruler's in a little bit of trouble, but now so is Smash. Duro comes over. Keen finds the gold card. The kick is gorgeous. Tempered Fate comes in, though. And now Duro trying to line up that Cosmic Binding. Death rate's fantastic. And now Xiu is looking for Keen. Lucid gets in there, finds the double. The flash to get away.
ไอเชียลูซิดแบกว่ะสัตว์3 คิว
Oh my god, DK are now in the lead.
Oh my god 3 คิวครับผม
Okay, we are done. When people ask me why Lee Sin came back into the meta, I'm just like, because it's Korea.
He never left.
Why is Lee Sin so high prio right now, Wolf? Well, have you seen the highlights of every single jungler we have in the Legend group? And also Sharvel.
Yep.
And also some of the other players.
I mean, Sharvel is honorarily in the Legend group, let's be honest.
But players like Gideon as well deserve a bit of a shout.
This was ridiculous.
Ruler nets the wrong direction here. So that's not great. Smash gets stunned here in the tempered fate.
Gen.G แพ้ไม่มีผลแล้วหรือเราเข้าใจผิดครับคือ Gen.G ถ้าเกิดแพ้วันนี้แล้วพรุ่งนี้ฮาวาและชนะที่วันอ่ะ Gen.G จะเป็นอันดับ2ส่วน DK ชนะแพ้ไม่มีผลแล้วแต่ว่ามันต้องการฟอร์มไงมันต้องการโมเมนตัมที่มันเล่นดีๆมามีผลทางจิตใจถ้าทีวันชนะพรุ่งนี้ก็มีผลกับทีวัน
Perfect flash over, and thanks to Korea as well for setting up the play, but it was just beautifully orchestrated.
And now D+ are in the lead in this game. They have the strong scaling. They're going to get this turret here for the second of the game, so tying it up 1-1 here as it was a big push to the bottom lane from Keen that whole time.
ไม่น่าไปลองเกมตลาดต่อสู้บนเจาะตลาดทั่วไปย่านได้แนวมาเวลา
They're in a really advantageous position in this game.
Yeah, the problem is there's the Keen effect, right? The Twisted Fate problem does just skew gold.
Yeah, exactly.
The 500 gold lead, like the fact that there's a 2,000 gold advantage here for TF is not as impactful, right?
Yeah,
he does now have a rapid fire cannon. He is going to be very, very strong, but you know, his kit is based around generally being further ahead as far as money.
He's also AD, so in terms of damage here, it's a little bit sketchy.
เอาจริงว่าคือพี่คิดว่าแบบมันควรเป็นตัวตีใกล้ทั้งหมดอะ
Yeah, and if he is CC, he just kind of dies.
Exactly. I think the game state definitely favors D+ now. With a double dragon, they also have in tow. Possibly a triple.
This is a bit cute. Gets on in there.
โอ้ยได้อีกโอ้ my god เชี่ยลูซิดแม่งโลแบบ100ว่ะตานี้
A team fight off the back end of this though, as Keen is looking to be his target. Shelly continues. Canyon with the Crescent Guard does come in there as Lucid gets himself out. Canyon goes back in. Xiu with the Mega Nut pulls Canyon back. And they take down the Lee Sin. Canyon goes golden with the help of that Tempered Fate. But Xiu's looking for Ruler. He'll slap him down, and now Keen is taken out as well. 3 kills here for D+. And man, like, this team is just so tenacious these days, Wolf.
I mean, I said they had a lead even though the gold wasn't the advantage. Now they've got the lead and the gold advantage. Showmaker looks like he's going to be fine here. Once more, which is greedy. but he is just going to be fine here. He's going to push this wave and try to continue to put that turret down. That bottom turret is also going to go down here. As you can see, Shiu has full control. He's even proxying with this Herald between turrets, which is very awkward.
And also, based on that Dragon Steal,
คือ
they
รู้สึก
now
ว่า
have
มันน่า
some
จะมี
point.
ตัวอย่างแซกอะ
This is a
Stack,
zero risk
set.
play for Lucid, by the way, to
Also,
go for this, because of the Herald drop over the wall. He has wards to play through. Watch his safeguard come back up, so when he drops out of the
ไอ้
Herald,
แซกนี่น่ามี
he is
สุ
going
ดๆเลย
to
พี่
have
รู้สึก
that
แซ
to
กมัน
play
เป็นแบบ
through here. So looks for a kick
มันเหมือนตัวอะไรใน
play.
Street Fighter นะ ไอ้ตัวนี้มันยึดแขนได้อะ
But has kept Keen at bay, so he can't actually peel in this fight.
ไอ้ตัวที่มันแบบว่าหัวโลนๆพ่นไฟได้
Beautiful
อะ
fight. Beautiful, beautiful fight here from D+ and Lucid. And then Shiu sets us up as
Oh.
well, gets to the
Kasim.
backline, takes out Ruler, and Gen.G just get pulled into 5 different directions after what looked like, to them, from their perspective, a pretty solid Dragon control. They're like, oh yeah, we've got control. There's nothing they can do. Lucid's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah,
I
let me
mean-
break the game!
And Ruler getting hit by that petrifying gaze was absolutely massive in that fight as well. Showmaker was hidden that whole time. And so Caitlyn just not being able to do anything in that fight whatsoever really made it so the D+ were able to turn that one around.
These players are going to get this champion nerfed, man. They got to stop it.
Yeah. They're going to get Shelly nerfed as well, man. That was
2001
kind of ludicrous driving from the young man.
เวลามันดิฟ
Smash
มันดิฟ
has
แบบ
done
เยอะ
so
มาก
much damage in this game. We need more magic resist for 80 carries, I think. 205 on this Victor.
ผมดูผิดพรุ่งนี้
He
เราช
even
นะ
has like
เท่าไหร่
this
ก็ได้
build
ที่
that we
2
saw yesterday
ใช่
that we
ครับ
don't really like very much. It's not a
ใช่
massive
พรุ่งนี้
amount of
ขอแค่
damage.
ชนะ
This is what BDD had when he flashed
ก็
on
จะได้
top
ที่
of
2 เลย
Pace. He just
วันนี้
kinda
ถ้าเกิด
died and looked
เจ
a
น
bit
จีแพ้
silly.
แล้ว
I do like
มันทำให้
given
เฮาอะไรมัน
the Caitlyn trough that we're going to see.
มันจะยิ่งแบบ
I mean,
กระเฮี้ยนที่จะขึ้นเป็น
for a while
อันดับหนึ่งกันนะ
But within the game set we have now, like the
แต่มัน
real
จะ
AD
ขึ้นได้
character
ไหม
a little bit is Keen, who unfortunately had at
มัน
least
ต้องชนะ
enough last fight.
2-0 แล้วมัน
Career is
อาจ
gonna
จะ
have
มี
to do
ไท
some
เบรก
fancy
ไงบอก
footwork
ไม่
to
ถูก
get out of here.
Yeah, he does flash, but there is the wind becomes lightning. Tempered Fate is going to hold him in position, and Smash is like, no, you don't even get my gravity field, brother. You are dead.
They give the kill over to Ruler, which is one more step closer to getting his IE completed.
Oh, Canyon spotted here as Lucid looking for a Q. Doesn't quite get it, as she with half a Narbar. We're going to set something up, see whether they do decide to go for a play. I don't think so, especially onto Canyon. Pressing guard can make Lee Sin's life just that little bit annoying.
Okay, Shiu playing with fire here. I think needs to back away.
Yeah,
Doesn't
he's
have an
gonna be able
R,
to do so.
and will get away. So game pretty close right now, but the fact that D+ have this sole point means they can control the course of the next few fights. Do they want to avoid one and hard push a side lane? Do they want to force a Twisted Fate to ult in and then look for a turn with their Camille? Do they want to just commit to the Dragon and force a 5v5 where they feel like they're stronger right now? If they end up losing someone in a side lane and Gen.G are on the
อ่ะ
Dragon,
แต่อย่างน้อยถ้าเกิดเข้าเป็น
you know, for example,
อัน
they
ดับ
have a lot of
ที่
damage.
3
They're
กลุ่ม
moving
พี่
up
ว่ามัน
to
ก็
on
ไม่
this
ได้
double
แย่
mage
มากสำหรับ
composition
ที
with
วัน
the
นะ
Victor and the Cassiopeia.
มันขอช
So
นะ
Gen.G
รอบ
are
หนึ่
going
ง
to have to
มัน
play
ขอชนะรอบ
really
หนึ่ง
well
แล้วก็
around the map to get this game back into their favor.
แล้วก็
Yeah, they have a lot
ถ้า
of
มันต้อง
tools
แพ้
for
ก็ขอให้
that.
อันดับ
Yeah, they have a lot
อันดับ
of tools
1
for
กับ
that.
อันดับ 2 มัน
Keen
เข้าร
with
อบ
his
ไปอะ
Destiny Gate can always have vision. So when this dragon is up in a
ว่าถ้า
minute's
พี่
time,
ถ้าเรา
they
ที่
can kind of brute force their
เจน
way
จี
in there.
น่าจะ
They're
ดึงเราไป
unable to actually get
แน่
the
เพ
map
ราะเจอ
control.
ดี
It's
เค
one of those things that's made
ดู
Twisted
ตึงก
Fate
ว่าที
so
วัน
powerful
ไม่
over the years. And then they can potentially
ไม่
work their
ไม่
way in that
ไม่
way with
ค่อย
that true side that they do have
เรียก
of
ว่า
their
ไม่ค่อย
opposition.
อยากเจอทีวัน
That
มากกว่า
doesn't
พี่
last
ว่า
forever
คือ
though.
ทีวันอ่ะ
So
คือ
we'll see
DK
whether D+
อ่ะ
can
มัน
force
โล
it out
แบบ
relatively
เราพอเข้าใจ
early.
ได้
For
มัน
D+,
แบบเล่นประมาณ
they
นี้
have
แต่
Shiu
ทีวันอ่ะมัน
carefully
มันเป็นทีม
threatening
ที่โล
top lane. Well, they have so
แต้ม
much
เยอะ
value
อะ
on the 4 on the bottom
เวลา
side
มัน
for
โล
this
มา
Dragon
ที
that
แบบ
spawns in 30. If Gen.G don't respond, then Shiu's just going to keep pushing.
แต่ถ้าจะเอาแบบ
And if
เบ
they
สิก
do,
เลยก็
Shiu's
น่าจะเป็น
going to try to keep his Narbar
อย่างก็
perfectly
เอา
set for
เอา
a
เอา
TP in.
ลำดับที่
But look where it is right now.
ที่น้อยกว่าอยู่แล้ว
Might actually even want to start the fight off.
อย่าง
but
ตอน
just
นี้
gonna
ถ้า
wait
เกิด
for better
เข้าไปรอบ
opportunities.
แบบนี้
Keen to
ใช่ป่ะ
answer.
ก็
Doesn't
ดีเค
have
อันดับ
TP
4ไงที่วัน
for
อัน
a few
ดั
more
บ 3
seconds
มันก็
here.
ต้อง
So there's a small window
เอาอันดับ
actually
4
if
ไป
they're
เจอ
very
อยู่แล้ว
aware of this where they can actually try to play through this Dragon Burst. But look at the amount of control they have. And this is what I was talking about. Like Gen.G kind of have to follow the play. They can't necessarily set the play right now.
Yeah, 4 seconds, and that dragon is up and available. Canyon, Chovy, and Duro all here in this area. Ruler is trying to hold down the fort in the mid lane.
If they
Be able to do that.
If they get Keen to leave this top lane, they can just contest Dragon with this Lee Sin that has flash and keep pushing. If they don't like this, if they don't like the Narbar state, they don't have to come into this fight. They can just control the tempo, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Keen's about to have his TP, and he's like, I think I have to TP there, or at least Destiny over. He's going to leave. This wave is taking out mid plates, and Showmaker's pushing, and this is the power of having Soul Point right now. D+ can do whatever they want.
Yeah, they don't need to worry about this. His Narbar isn't in a great spot. Destiny has come on through. As now Keen looking to try and get on in here. He does teleport in from Shia, but he only has half a number, but it's getting close, to be perfectly honest. There's the shockwave to guarantee the Drake. Kick back onto Canyon. And no real fight has started off just yet as Korea gets into that backline. He's looking for an angle, but he just dies. Not really a whole lot more than that, but now Shia, he might have an angle to try and find a huge Nah. Wants to get over that wall, but decides he's going out instead. And D+, I don't think they want this fight after all. Keen looking for an angle, flashes in, does get the gold card. That's a three-man petrifying gaze. And two of them have already hit the deck. Smash with a gigantic Arcane Storm. And it is 3 for 2. Drake goes over to Gen.G. They'll claim the gold lead.
Pretty haphazard fight, I think, for D+, all things considered. I was setting up this maestro scenario where they were pulling all the strings, but then when they had decided to go in for the steal, it's pretty haphazard, right? D+ are in a position where while Lucid goes in here, he can't really force anything, and he just kind of awkwardly kicks Canyon, which doesn't set up anything. Doesn't allow them to do anything. The Tempered Fate actually denies all the follow-up, and Career gets burst down before he can ult Ruler. Ruler flashes instantly and nets away, and they kill him. So that's also a tool gone here. How D+ play this defensively, though, is pretty impressive. Shiu kites away here, and watch this as Canyon rushes forward without his ultimate. Showmaker looks for the turn and ult. Shiu follows up with the last remnants of his Narbar, and the burst from Smash allows him to get the Chaos Storm massive, which allows them to at least run away with their tail between their legs, but they do escape. Gen.G back in control of the map, back in a gold lead here, and deny Soul from D+. So a huge win for them on the fight. And D+ could have opted into a lot of different scenarios. They could have kept that TP on top side, could have left Shiu pushing, but instead they go for the fight. And it fails.
Smash now gonna get hit by that ace in the hole, but he's not too worried about it. Ruler will be able to wait till this wave heads back towards this turret. And yeah, you said it pretty well, right? Like Drake going over to Gen.G just isn't much of a big deal, right? DK can just do it next time, try and force that
แต่ตอนนี้ในพี่ว่าไอ้หมื่นมันเล่นเพื่อรอ POE League ใหม่มาคือมันเล่นเกมอะไรมันก็จะนึกถึง POE อยู่ตอนนี้
I mean, Gen.G played so carefully to group up and kind of push their way through vision. His flash was amazing into the flanking Camille angle. Like Gen.G did so much work to get into that, and D+ were like, we'll fight anyway. Gave him the fight, and now the map control isn't theirs anymore. So that one dragon is way less valuable than the amount of control Gen.G just got back, but they got both.
Now Lucid for an angle towards Ruler. There's the kick. They dive on top of him. Hextech Ultimatum comes down. He steps out of the Tempered Fate. Not exactly the move that he wanted to do. And now the Arcane Storm is in. Korea will be taken out. As now Lucid versus Canyon, but Lucid has Smash there alongside him. Chovy going to get pushed away by Shiu, and Showmaker trying to work out where to be. Keen is just destroying stuff on the sides of the map. And they lose 2 in favor of 1, but this inner turret going down as well is a big deal.
Baron is going to be the attempt here for D+. As they rush over to try to take this one down quick with this double mage composition. They should be able to get it. Now Keen, I think instead of trying to defend this, absolutely should just look for an inhibitor here if he can. There's no one to defend this. I mean, it's a bard coming over here with Blue just in case anyone comes down here to help protect Keen. So Baron will go over, and finally Career is able to come over here and stop this turret from going down. Keen is going to just walk away here and has that bard to back him up. Totally fine, but I like the call here for D+. To just send it
เดี๋ยวต้องไปถามพี่เจแล้วว่าช่วยตอบคือกูต้องสตรีมไปด้วยแล้วตอบลูกค้าไปด้วย Oh my god.
Oh, this from Ruler is unfortunately just way too greedy with no flash. He has no flash in the previous fight, and he's just burst down.
And it was a bait
มันเทรนได้ครับมันคือตอนนั้นพี่ตั้งคำ
D+ just kind of read and then won.
พูดยังไง
It was kind of
มัน
ridiculous.
เทรนไอได้ไหมวะมันไม่ค่อยได้คือนึกออกว่าขนตาผู้หญิงอ่ะมันคือขนาดผู้ชายยังไม่เข้าใจอ่ะมึงให้ AI มาเข้าใจไอ้เชี่ยคือมึงบ้าไปแล้ว มีภาพอ่ะ AI แม่งคงแบบว่าคุณกิฟต์ให้คนอื่นทำแทนได้ไหมดิฉันไม่อยากทำแล้ว
I think it's pretty much a given, but maybe starting to threaten some of these inhibitor turrets could be on the menu here. 2 minutes left on the push.
Yeah, Chovy throwing his orb around, trying to take down this minion wave smash.
ก็คือพอถ้าลูกค้าทักมาว่าแบบนี้ต่อแบบนี้เข้ายังไงไหมคือแบบยืดเล็บมาคือแบบมันเป็นงานฝีมือมันต้องคิดว่าแบบยังไงบ้างทำอะไรได้บ้างอะไรยากมากแต่ถ้าให้ตอบคำถามว่าอยู่ที่ไหนคิวว่างไหมก็ยังทำไม่ได้อยู่ดีเพราะคิวมันก็คือแบบว่าเอาจริงคิวน่าทำได้เดี๋ยวต้องให้พี่เจมาเดี๋ยวต้องหาวิธีทำให้พี่เจหน่อย เพราะว่าแบบเหมือนลงคิวแล้วเราก็มีคิวแบบเป็นคลาวไว้อันนึงแล้วก็แบบให้เขาเลื่อนลงตารางเองเลยอะไรเงี้ย
Rise Group teams do not try this at home.
Oh no.
Only D+ can pull this off, I think.
I actually think that like D+ are the best team at playing Victor Bot. I don't think any other team has really been able to find the level of success that this team has with this exact composition.
And they really have tried, haven't they?
They certainly have. As all right, now Keen is
มัน
going
เพิ่ง
to
เปิด
throw down
ตอนนี้ก็เลยต้องทำเองทุกอย่างก็
Destiny
คือตอบช้าหน่อย
as the Drake has been started up. Lucid is spotted because of that ultimate
ก็
from
คือตอน
Keen
นี้ก็คือ
and
มัน
Smash
มัน
trying to
สั่น
find
ไม่หยุด
some of
มันแบบ
that poke damage here. It is going to be the Drake secured by Gen.G. Two Cloud Drakes. It's not
แล้ว
exactly
คือ
end
มื
of
อถื
the
อพี่เจ
world
ก็เปิดอยู่
though.
แล้ว
And
ก็
now
เห็นเลยว่าพี่เจ
D+
ก็แบบ
are looking to
เวลา
try
มัน
and
สั่น
rout
พี่เจก็
them
มอง
as
แล้ว
they
ก็แบ
look
บ
to make
กำ
their
ลัง
way
ตอบ
out
ข
of
นตาอยู่
this. Miasma goes down and D+
อยากจะแบบ
are
ว่า
not
กระ
going
พริ
to
บ
be
ตา
able to
ต
get
อบ
on top of Gen.G. Successful heist here into the Baron. They also eat Baron time with that play
Yeah,
as
it
well.
kind of feels like
แต่ละคน
both these
ทำงาน
last
เท่าๆกันไหมพี่
dragons
หรือ
have
แล้วแต่
been-
ความยาก
You know
ง่าย
when you have Soul Point, you
ป
can
ระมาณ
force a lot of
2
things
ชั่ว
on
โม
the
งอะไรเงี้
map
ยท
because if
ำ2 ชั่วโมงครึ่ง
if they don't go to the dragon, you can get the
ข้างละ
souls. They have to be
ชั่วโมง
there,
อะไร
then
เงี้ย
you can just ignore it.
แต่ก็
and
ขึ้นอยู่
push
กับ
for
ว่า
your
ลูก
free
ค้า
dragon
มี
lead.
แบบ
Feels like
ขนตา
Gen.G
เก่า
have
มาหรือ
used
เปล่า
the
มันต้อง
dragon
ล้าง
the opposite
ตา
way
ไหม
and
อะไร
gotten
เงี้ยมัน
D+
ต้องล้าง
off of the map twice.
เพราะพี่เจ
Like,
เขา
the
ล้าง
last one they
ล้าง
committed
ขน
to a
ตา
fight
อ
and
อกเขา
also
ทำส
lost the
ปา
fight this
ให้
time.
ไง
D+
ทำสปา
just
ตา
waste a
เพื่อ
lot
แบบ
of
ว่า
time,
แบบ
including
ขัด
that
เอาไอ้
Baron you
ตัว
mentioned,
กา
and
เศษ
Gen.G
กาวอ
still
อกให้หมดอ่ะ
dragon
มันจะได้แบบ
die. They
เรียบ
don't
ร้อยอะไร
lose the
เงี้ย
fight
งา
this
น
time,
ได้
but
สะ
there is
อาด
no fight, which is exactly how Gen.G like
มัน
is.
ก็เลย
Looking
แบบ
at Ruler,
คือ
yes,
ลูก
he's
ค้าทุกคน
significantly
มัน
behind in this game,
มั
but
น
he
ควร
does
ต้อง
have
ทำ
3
ถ้าร้าน
items
ไหนที่
here
เขาไม่ทำส
and
ปาก็คือ
so
แบบ
much setup in this draft.
ก็ให้ลูกค้าไปล้างเอง
Chovy
แต่ว่า
hasn't
จ
been
ริงๆแล้วควร
broken.
ทำ
He's
ไง
gonna
มัน
be
ควร
pretty
จะ
safe
ออกมา
to
จาก
be able
ที่
to
นี่
get
เรีย
a
บ
few
มันเรียบ
rotations
ร้อย
to
ไม่มี
spells
แบบ
off in a straight up
ไอ้
5v5.
คราบกาว
Now
ห
the
รืออะไร
dragon's
เงี้ย
gone. Gen.G just kind of sit back and
นึกออก
play
ว่าเหมือน
through
เรา
the
ไป
Orion
ติด
and
ขนตา
clear
มา
waves.
จากร้าน
This
อื่น
game
ใช่ป่ะ
was
แล้วเรา
way
มาร้านเนี้ย
closer.
ก็คือเรา
I
จะ
think
ถอ
that
ด
it had
เพื่อ
any
ทำร้าน
right
เนี้ย
to be.
ตอนถอดอ่ะมันก็จะแบบ
Really did feel like
มี
Gen.G
คราบ
got
กา
off
ว
to the
คราบอะไร
right
ต้อง
start,
เช็ดออก
but
ให้หมด
D+
อะ
found the beautiful
รับ
turn
แอดมิน
with
ไหม
some sick
คะ
plays out of Lucid.
เฮ้ย
And
เดี๋ยว
there's like a natural
เดี๋ยวเราถาม
ebb
พี่
and
เจดู
flow
ว่า
of
ต้อง
both of
ให้
these
มีแอดมินไหม
compositions, and I feel like it's flowing back in favor of Ruler especially.
แล้ว
You were
ทำเลยครับ
mentioning it, has picked
easy
up a couple of items now, 3 now in pocket, but as soon as that armor pen comes in, he's going to be unstoppable.
He's got his
สปา
flashback,
ตา
he's
นี่
got Ghost.
เคเลีย
If you
เปิด
end
ใช่
up
เค
losing
เลีย
the
นี่
tempo on a fight,
ทำร้าน
he
ได้เลย
presses Ghost and starts
AC
chasing
เหรอ
people down, headshotting. Is not going to be what D+ fans were hoping for. Because right now you're feeling still
เดี๋ยวลองดูก่อน
okay
ว่าช่วง
if
นี้
you're
ทำได้
D+,
หรือเปล่า
like, oh man, this is
ว่าแบบ
gonna go to
มันไหว
3.
ไหมถ้าไม่ไหว
You
ก็
know, we are looking really in form before we go
Defiant.
into playoffs. Like I said, this could be the finals. These could be our best 2 teams.
Yeah.
In the LCK, form-wise,
Oh,
for round
Lalo
3 and
Pad.
4, statistically they are.
I mean, they have the best score lines in since MSI, and one of these teams is going to demonstrate that they have been the best
ฟาสต์เวิร์ก
after
ที่
that mid-season tournament
This
has
was-
concluded.
Also, you know, it feels like it's the opposite situation to how the EWC matchup went.
พี่ว่ามันอาจจะไม่เหมาะกับ
The finals and the semis.
กับร้านต่อขนตา
Based off each
ป่ะ
other in best of 3. It's a close series that
เอาหมายถึงให้
ultimately
ทำระบบ
D+
เหรอ
was able to take, but maybe Gen.G this time around end up taking
แต่พี่
the
เคย
win
คิด
here
จะ
in
ทำ
the
ระบบตั้งแต่
final
แรก
bout
ก่อน
of
ที่
the
จะเปิด
regular
ร้านเลยบอก
season.
พี่เจเดี๋ยวจะทำระบบให้นะ พี่เจบอกไม่เอาพี่เจอยากตอบเองอยากคุยกับลูกค้าเอง
here
มัน
towards
ก็เลย
the
แบบ
latter half of the year
เรา
where
ก็เลย
D+
แบบ
have really
เขา
turned
อยา
it
กจะแบบ
around.
คุยเองทักทายว่าคำพูดพี่เจมันจะเป็นคำพูดแบบ
Life
ไม่
Esports
เหมือนบอท
heroically
ไม่เหมือน
winning
อะไรพวกนี้ไง
MSI
มันเป็นคนแบบ
because
พูด
I
แบ
think
บ
we definitely need 4
อีกแบบหนึ่ง
seeds.
อะ
There's a lot of teams that we want to send to Worlds, okay?
Yeah.
And could have meant that D+ or even Gen.G miss out, or even T1, right? There's a lot of teams that are looking like they are vying for world championship
Cassie
positions.
Don.
Now Gen.G
And for a
possibly looking for a turn onto
Yeah.
Showmaker. Miasma goes down. Man, it's so annoying to be a Xin Zhao when that is available. It avoids the queue. But
พี่ว่า
Canyon
DK เป็น
also
เป็น
unable to find
ทีม
the
ที่
win
แบบ
comes
เล่น
lighting a
เล่นแบบ
shield,
บับเบิ้ล
lurking
เก่ง
in the
มากนะ
sides here.
ใน
They
ลี
know
ก
that the Nava
LCK
isn't
เนี่
there
ย
as Korea dives
แบ
in,
บ
stunned
โอ้
up
โหปาให้
immediately
โดน
one
ต
more
ลอด
time.
เลยเชีย
And Showmaker does manage to get the ulti, but tempered fate by so much space. Shiu with the wall of bone, he gets on top of them.
มาว่ะ
Lucid finds his way back through and Keen goes down. Lucid finds
Oh
another
my
one.
god Oh my god กระทืบ
Lee Sin, the
เชีย
instant
ลีซิน
quadra
ตัวนี้
kill, and D+ are bringing us to 3.
And Gen.G didn't take the Lee Sin into the
คือ
Cassiopeia. And I
คีน
think
แกปราบให้
maybe
ได้
they
แบบ
regret
ก่อนที่
it
คำมีกด
now
อันติ
with
ได้
how
ทุกรอบ
well
เลยแต่ว่าแม่ง
this young man has
ก็ยังไม่
taken
ไหว
over this game. A quadra to end it.
เพราะว่ามันเป็นคอมชีโตที่มันไม่มีแท็กไม่มีแทง
as they often have before, despite the loss streak against Gen.G, have brought us to a full 3-game series. These two teams just deliver every single time.
My God, an incredible game on both sides. I have to say though, something about D+ when they get their hands on these weird drafts that you don't trust, they always find the angle. And once again, they do it. They knuckle down, lose game one, come back in the second one. and now have some
ถ่ายรูปบ้าไป
momentum
แล้วเมื่อ
built
กี้
up to try and find a win in this third game.
And you know, the game one draft, they were behind, still found some angles back in, still had some crazy plays, had the insane punish on the Baron, and it just goes to show that D+ can win with almost anything. Smash 26,000 damage in this game. And
who said that mages in the bottom lane were dead?
Maybe this is just CV Max thriving as the underdog squad, making these drafts as hard as possible. Or maybe for D+, who there's no implications for this series, are just turning into a big scrim. Who knows? But it
โอ้
looks
เขามีคน
pretty
ได้
sick.
ละ
It
เขามี
certainly
คนได้
does, and
กล่อง
honestly, every win is so important moving towards playoffs, regardless of whether it can actually change your position. As yes, Gen.G fans, maybe it is a game where you should have been having a nap. Maybe she nailed it with that idea. But hopefully, you can wake up for Game 3, because that's when they have to turn it on if they want to guarantee first place. We're going to take a short break. When we get back to space, and then game number 3. We'll see you soon.
Gen.G for the first time in a long time. Let's send it back on over the casters for
แต่
game.
ที่งานแข่งไม่มียาสูเลยนะพี่ถ้าลุงไปแข่ง
Thank you
นี่
so
การัน
much,
ตีเม
gentlemen, for
ทัล
that
การ์ดเลย
breakdown
นะ
of game number 2, and we are here. Our Saturday showdown is 100% delivering, and we get maximum games. See
มัน
whether
น่าจะ
Gen.G can turn it around, and
น่า
whether
สน
D+
ใจว่าเป็นแผง
Kia
เลย
have
ด้วย
got
ใบ
more
หนึ่งแม่งแพงมาก
surprises up their sleeve, and another fancy draft from this gentleman right here.
Yeah, I mean, the drafts left us pretty unhappy, but in game one they were able to
เล่นระบ
come
อง
back
คนเล่นน้อย
pretty
มาก
well with a draft
คน
that
เล่น
was
น้อย
massively
รับมือยาก
behind,
มาก
some misplays, and then game 2 less behind, but
ๆอ๋อหมายถึงว่าคนรับมือเราได้ใช่ไหมพี่บงเริ่มจัด
and we're able to just
เริ่
kind
ม
of
จัดเด็ก
turn what
เทค
was a rocky start into
ไม่
an
ตามโปร
insanely
อะ
one-sided game. And in game 3, we don't know yet what will happen, but
พี่กี้ผมรอพี่ถามใน AI อยู่นะครับ
are removed as we move into Fearless, and we get the special Saturday Showdown draft music for the decider.
คือใบแพงๆแบบไอ้พวกเมทัลอ่ะมันเดี๋ยวมันจะมีแบบ
That means DK will be back
เหมือนที่
on
ฟัง
blue
มามันจะ
side.
มีแบบว่า
I
ไป
would assume. There it
ไปงาน
is.
แข่งแล้วมันจะมีไซส์อีเวนต์แล้วก็ไปเก็บ
Gen.G
โทเค็นได้แล้วโทเค็นไปแลกแบบ
first pick
เมทัล
after
ได้เหมือนกัน
choosing second pick in game 2.
ซึ่งก็จะหมดเร็วมากไอ้พวกใบแพงๆอ่ะไอ้พวกอารีอย่างเงี้ยเมทัลอารีอ
To
ย่างเงี้ย
lock up your post first pick, you know, you get a strong first pick, and you lock up your bot duo. I
ผ
think
ม
the
เราดูแลหน้าไม่ค่อย
Vandalism
ตรงกับ
a third time.
I think it's
สเปค
definitely
เท่าไหร่
a Calista
หา
Renata
หา
angle.
หา
That's all
พี่
I'm
ว่า
seeing
ถ้าเกิดนึกอะไร
in
ไม่ออก
my
ก็มาสเตอ
mind's
ร์
eye
ยี
for Gen.G. They've been so good at defaulting to this and then just slamming the game down. We'll see whether that is where they're going to head.
If they do want to do that, they don't necessarily have to ban Delusion. I think they will anyways.
I would assume so. I think it could still be a difficult lane to play out.
Poppy gone, Nocturne gone, the Akali.
Interesting.
Counterpick to a few different champions in this
ใช่
meta, but some
เด็
of
ก
them
พี่
are
ก็ต้อง
removed
เก่งเพราะ
already.
มันเก็บ
Azir,
โทเค็น
a big question mark if we did see that one come through.
Ooh. Extra damage on the Q. Haha. It's not really much of a buff,
Yeah, it's not doing that well.
though we haven't really seen him back yet just yet. But it might be that the Emperor does come back a little bit later.
So the Jarvan still hasn't been played yet, which is rare to make it to 3 games like this. That could also be a consideration here for D+ on the ban list.
Renekton. We are playing Ambessa, I guess.
Probably. This will be the Lucian ban if they are going to go for it. Alternatively, something completely different. The Jarvan I mentioned.
All right. So Jarvan does come down. It's hard to pick Ashe, right? There's no Seraphine and no Lulu available. So that is not really much of an option.
Sivir first pick for Gen.G.
Whoa, that'd be crazy.
I don't think so.
I think D+ would be happily able to just pick a Calista Renata, though, if that was the case. A first pick Calista might actually be enough. We have seen Ashe Renata as far as a Renata denial is concerned, but that was a while ago.
We have so much focus on the bottom lane just to give everyone the update because Gen.G have first picks, they get a prio pick and then lock up their duo right afterwards as a snap. That's one of the many reasons why you would want to go for first pick. So we'll see what they do opt for. Lucian is available, but they're going to look for the Syndra, so we understand the Akali ban now.
All right.
Even though it's really good into Akali in the early levels. The Jace.
All right, they banned the Cassante so that they could pick up the Jace. Now that Olaf is gone, there are quite a few things that you'd want to play into the Jace that have now been removed.
Also, Yorick with a Syndra comp doesn't feel that great. It's not impossible to play, but it can get kind of awkward. As that Lucian, even though it's split here, it feels safe because the Milio denial is pretty
ดูเว็บ
tough.
เมตาไม่แก
So
ใคร
for the
ที่
first
สนใจ
time it's left up, and
พิมพ์
for
คำ
the
ว่าอะไร
first
นะ
time
เมตาการ์ด
Smash will have the opportunity to
card.
lock that away. It's been respected by
ก็
Gen.G
เข้าไปดู
games
เม
1
ตา
and
การ์ดกัน
2.
ได้
And we predicted this right from the
Yeah, you knew it was going to happen.
You and I both were like, well, I see where this is going. I've cast these two teams against each other enough times to know it's going to be that matchup, and we are going to get it here.
And Lucian Milio, I think, will still be a lot of power into this lane. But we know that Ruler and Duro are just so good at playing out the Kalista Renata.
ดูว่าชอบอะไรกันเนาะ
I'd be a little bit frightened.
They're considering something else here instead of the Milio, but or maybe
They're
they're just
not
thinking about what
king,
they want to ban. I want to use some extra time here, but I think the Milio 100% best option here.
Yeah, they are going to lock that one away. But now Chovy on the Syndra, very scary prospect.
So Yorick
can
is
protect it even further as well.
Yorick is going to go. We're not going to see that.
Yes, I'm going to write that down.
I think that's probably the only ban you have to do on the top side. We're not going to see Scion in this draft, I don't think. So
it could be Yorick Vayne if you wanted to do that, but I don't know whether Jace is too bothered by a Vayne. Still, we have seen, like especially Keen has really improved the Vayne play over this year. So it might
แม่ง
be
เก่ง
worthy
เพราะว่า
of
เว่
some
ยอะ
respect.
คือจริงๆแบบแม่งคือเด็ก
Curious
เว่ย
now, do they ban Talia away from
Wait,
Showmaker? It's
Meng
not a
Su Jing.
strong matchup, but does work well with the comp and how it wants to play around the solution and the essence.
เมตา
Annie also
สะพานเหล็ก
great
การ์ด
choice in terms of just big burst
Yep.
playing through the
เม
Lucian.
กาบัง
I think
นะ
that was their other option, was to go like Annie Wukong or something like that immediately after seeing the Syndra. But now that they decided not to do that, they're not going to have that option. Showmaker, though, obviously has a gigantic champion pool, so isn't going to be too worried. His Twisted Fate, though, has been denied.
ลูเซียบิลิโอครับผม
played it towards the top
มา
side.
เลย
The jungle
ผม
pool is
ไหว
also
อยู่แล้ว
super thin in this game, and neither player has picked
พี่
their
Showmaker
jungle
ไม่ต้อง
just yet.
ห่วง
So it's going to get interesting. That Scion is banned, in fact. I was talking about as one of the best answers left available. No Renekton here either, which they banned earlier. It ends up being
แบนท็อป
probably
เลน
the
ไป
best
ทั้งหมด
here for Keen,
1
I
2
guess, in
3
this draft
4
now.
อันนี้คือ
Yeah.
ซี
And
วี
I
แม็ก
actually
เล่นต
feel
ล
like
กอะไรกับ
Ambessa kind of fits what they want to be
กับ
doing
คีนหรือเปล่า
here as well. Hostile takeover plus
คือมันต้องแบนกัน
public
ขนาดนี้เลย
execution
เหรอ
can be pretty deadly. But one more ban, probably aimed at Showmaker here. And no, it
4
will
เดือน
be
นะประมาณ
Kiana taken
ไอ้
away
พวกคอ
instead.
เซตลิบาว
Probably better for both
3-4 เดือน
junglers
Maybe.
that Kiana's banned.
Maybe you could go for Nefiri now with this draft. I think it works pretty well. The scary thing is bailout.
เหลืออะไร
All
ที่
that
ไปสู้
burst
กับ
damage,
เจส
you super all in on trying to kill someone with
อย่า
the
บอกว่าวาลัสนะ
Nefiri, and then they just get bailed out and kill you.
Oh, Ari's still up. Okay.
Zoe, I like way more for zone power. It's a classic. We've seen it so many times in the past into the Syndra.
It also means that playing a tank will be really hard. I feel like if they were to go with a very poke-based composition, the Trundle fits in really beautifully. They're going to hold off on that last
จริง
pick
ก็ไอ
to
ริ
see
เลีย
what
ปะ
Keen wants to play. And if it is something like an Ornn, you can really kind of cut him in half with that subjugate. A delicate balance here.
The Fury feels like the best bet here for Gen.G unless they have just a completely off-the-wall pick.
That's a Gragas. And that will be locked in. Over to Keen, playing the Fat Man on the top side.
I'm starting to wonder if there's like any other pick, like Zed Jungle. That
Ignore the
wants to
win
play.
percentage, by the way, on the Gragas. That 0% doesn't look great.
กากัส
What's he
Nice.
got planned here? Canyon's always been the guy who just pulls something out of his hat in a series like this. He's played Karthus in so many matches against D+ over the or against Gen.G when he was on D+ over the years, but he opts for the Wukong,
God.
which is pretty weak early.
Wait a second. Is Lucid going to do this? CV Max and Kanavi are good friends, and I'm a bit frightened that this is real.
I think it's pretty strong actually in this draft into the setup with the Kalista. But he goes to the
great.
Maokai, which is actually one of his old favorites. I heard Kronko was tuned in earlier. I don't know if he stuck around, but it's probably going to get him stressed out here. He's going to be already typing in the chat, "Don't build damage, Maokai. Don't build AP." He probably won't in this draft, but this is a lot of really nice lockdown for the Wukong.
A lot of
Is that
setup
Maokai
here
setup?
on D+'s side
Yeah,
as well.
they can also just kind of poke at this relatively low-range composition, right? And then play through pick, win, Gen.G try to go through. They have the Maokai peel. Ari can, weirdly enough, function as peel in this draft too, and they have the Milio. Of the 3 drafts, in terms of scholastic draft, what we expect and what we've seen in the LCK, this is my favorite D+ draft of the 3, and we were very low on games 1 and 2, so that was a pretty low bar. But I think in terms of comfort picks, man, Gen.G have everything they want, and
the Kalista Renata feels like a lane that is going to be so strong to play through. Now, because they opted for the Wukong, though, that lane is going to be a little bit vulnerable in the early game. So Maokai Impact could be even stronger down there, and so they need to be careful about over-pushing and over-forcing that lane. Man, what a banger Game 3 I think we're about to jump into.
Yeah, I'm really keen to see what's going to happen here in this one, as Maokai for Lucid is not exactly a typical pick for him, but I think it fits the composition really nicely. And there are so many, like you were saying, really famous champions for these players on Gen.G.
ปีนี้พี่คิดว่าใครจะชิงกับทีวันถามจริงทีวันตอนนี้ยังไม่รู้จะได้ไปเวอร์หรือเปล่าเลยวันนี้อินเวนเขาไปเล่นกัน
Right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for game number 3. Already, this is a bit scary. In they go. Great charm connects onto Duro. He has to flash already. In fact, so many summoners already blown here by Gen.G. and
Summoner
Yeah, I mean,
spell
if it was old Summoner's Rift before they changed the minion spawn timer and all that, you could be like, oh, this is a pretty huge advantage they get, but they'll get back to lane pretty quickly. The lane is here. The minions are there. Duro with no sums is not in the lane, and this is already a volatile matchup, but when you don't have a support here at level 1, it is going to be miserable. And D+ just show up, hit a charm, and yes, Showmaker did have to start charm, so that's a little bit annoying in this matchup especially, so there's a little bit of a cost to this. But I think they're very happy with the end result.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that Showmaker has demonstrated that he's very happy to make some sacrifices of his own gameplay experience in order to get this bottom lane ahead.
The whole thing to look at here is the experience bar of Smash versus the experience bar of Ruler. He is so much faster at reaching level 2, so can dictate the pace of this bottom lane because Ruler had to back. He doesn't have the exhaust defensively here either. And we're just sitting under turret like this, the flash is relatively worthless. Only Duro's flash is relevant because flash handshake could turn the lane around, but without it, he's just going to be keeping his hands in his pockets, I think you could say.
Yep. Pretty dangerous situation here. Like you mentioned, not without a cost. You can see here in the mid lane, things going quite well. Showmaker not going to get scattered too badly. Does get hit by the ability, but not by an orb.
Imagine Showmaker goes for that play bottom side with the E-lock, and it gets
พี่เจคุยผ่านกล้องวงจรปิดไงในห้องตอบขนตามีกล้องวงจรปิดพี่ปิดเสียงไว้อยู่ก็เลยแบบไม่ได้ยิน
that they went for this set play, but it absolutely works, and it makes me feel like, just like you and I did, they saw the Kalista Renata coming, and they were like, we have a good plan for this.
Yeah. And having a look here, as far as the win rates are concerned, it's not fantastic for D+.
Good for Ari.
แตกตื่นนะ900 คน
4 and 7. We have seen some of his performances have left a little to be desired outside of the deaths column. He definitely nails that. We'll see whether this is going to be a better one up against the Gragas.
แต่เมาคายนี่แม่ง
not necessarily like
ที่วันเคยเล่นช่วงนึงแล้วแม่งก็ไม่เวิร์กก็เลยเลิกเล่นเลยไปเล่นเซจูนี่แทนทั้งที่เซจูนี่ก็ไม่ได้เวิร์กนะ
He's got a dark seal now.
One of the annoying things to Atlas is that
ตกใจนึกว่าคนโต
that doesn't necessarily have a lot of gank power, and because his bottom side is already under so much control here from D+, it's hard to fix it. Chobi would have to potentially roam, which is very difficult to do. And by the way, Maokai's here.
Yeah, Duro doesn't have flash. He doesn't have heal. He doesn't have a chance here in this bottom lane. And first blood goes over to the Maokai.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Chronicler at home, seeing that red sight on the Malphite.
First strike as well. I mean, first strike is almost always there because saplings just print money. And, I mean, you're just not going to say no to free money.
I think it's time for Cry to accept that both D+ is a good team after he's gone, and also that AP Maokai is pretty good. Duro gets caught here by the kick, and it's honestly there were like 7 reasons why he was dead there. But the number one was that you mentioned one that you mentioned, which was didn't have flash from the level 1 play, and so down he goes, and it's all coming up blue in these lanes here outside the mid lane where Showmaker started to eat, but even he
แต่เมาใครได้เฟิร์สบัตนี่ไม่ค่อยดีเท่าไหร่
Yeah, actually pulling back a fair bit of control.
คิดถึงเมาใครเวอร์ชันที่มัน first strike ไอชิ้นนี่ first strike นี่ว่าเพิ่งเห็นเมาใคร first strike เวทอะที่แบบโดนทีนึงคือแบบครึ่งหลอดอะไอเม็ดนั่นอะ
I think should come as a shock to no one, just given the matchup he's playing into here. Just to tier first.
Yep.
แต่ได้หน้ากากเร็วก็ดี
The Fimbulwinter.
Yes. Which has been a Gragas classic.
It has. Might go, okay. Smash looking for an angle towards Ruler, but does get his hand shook. very polite is Duro, as he says, no, sorry, I would prefer not the aggression.
Yeah, not sure how Duro got so low, but Smash is going to freeze this wave and just continue to annoy a flashless Kalista.
Yeah, Ruler is going to come back with Duro here.
Like, Lucid's on the outside of the map right now. Dragon, they need to be careful about overextending here. They have Canyon here, but, like, you mess up a play here, you have a failed dive, you're going to get punished.
And he's only here to fix the wave as well, right? It's not like he's here to kill Smash or anything like that. That wave was pulled, and therefore this Lucian is entirely safe, allows Korea to go for a free reset, and everything is A-OK. Ruler does manage to even out the CS. That is definitely good news. And Showmaker didn't miss out on experience here in this lane. As we can see, they both hit level 6 at the same time. Another good scatter here from Chovy, as he's come back to the lane as well. Lost Chapter very close, but not quite there on that most recent back.
All right, Lucid looking for this Dragon. Showmaker the gank target. But again, it's a Wukong in the early game. Like, what are you going to do with that? As that's their potential cross map here to a Dragon take with Scuttle.
First time
Lucid actually might just be able to get his ultimate here and then have it for a defense of this Dragon take. Such a strong position for D+ in the early game. There's the level 6.
Yep. So does have that ultimate up and available.
ปล่อยมังกรตัวแรก Gen.G
will be able to slink back into the fog of war here. But Duro and Ruler are just trying to
ทำไมรู้สึกว่า CV Max มันดับดีจังวะ
You can see Chovy trying to roam out of that mid lane.
คือเลือกเจสมาแล้วก็แบบแล้วก็แบนตัวที่เจสไม่ชอบแม่งให้หมดเลยคือซีวูมันเลยได้เล่นแต่แมตช์ชัพที่มันแบบคอมฟอร์ตไม่ต้องไปเจอยอริกอะไรเงี้ยไซออน
Could theoretically be an Ocean Soul, which would be not the greatest here for D+. But otherwise, they are some pretty juicy ones.
Pretty decent for their side lane power, I guess.
True.
But like you said, that's the worst of a list of great ones.
All right. D+ retaining some control. I feel like this is the most early game power D+ have had as far as priority and lanes are concerned.
And sometimes in the Legend group, that's how games are won. Oh, you won the lane, you got map control. That's as simple as it gets. Oftentimes, but
เหมือนแบบเมาใครอย่างเงี้ยคือวูคองมันต้องการเข้ามาปั่นให้ถึงใช่ป่ะแล้วมันเดินไปเจอแบบว่าไอตัวโสมอ่ะมันก็โดนสปอตแล้ว
What could this team look like if they had drafts that were considered a little bit more standard? We didn't see that in this third game, that's for sure. But with the Maokai coming through and the Jace Prio here,
แต่เกม2ทอมแม่งคุกแบบ
because from behind they've looked real good.
Cooking dab แบบ
This will be the first time where they get to be the oppressors.
And you know what? They have fumbled leads before as well. So maybe not, it's the counting chickens situation. Time.
I mean, I'm not trying to say this game is done by any means, but is it pre-8 minutes, a 1,200, 1,300 gold lead here for D+. And we've talked a lot about the underdog prowess of this team, but they haven't spent that much time overdogging.
เกม2แพ้เมื่อวานทีวันไม่อยากนึกภาพทอมแม่งจะโดนด่าแค่ไหน
Yeah, he might actually have to flash to get out of this. Oh, great fire kick onto Canyon. As soon as the Nimbus Strike is down, the ability to close the gap is a little bit more difficult.
If Canyon Cyclone's there for a flash, they might just lose all sort of control over the top sides. Lucid's here in mid.
Yeah, flash twisted advance does come in, pushes Chovy back right into the charm. And now the ulti to follow up. Absolutely no way out here for this Syndra. And Lucid is 2 for 2 on the ganks so far this game.
Craziest thing is if Lucid doesn't ult there, I'm not even sure if he needed to. Might be able to make it play topside right afterwards, but he does do it just to secure, make sure Chovy has no out there, and Canyon spotted on a ward.
Yeah, it does go in with the Cyclone though, is now Smash. Might get hit with both of them. Uses the barrier, gets over the wall.
ไม่ไหวว่ะไอ้เชี่ยคือจะคิว1ทีแบบไม่ได้ว่ะแคนยอนเมื่อกี้รู้สึกไม่ค่อยดีกับ Gen.G ไงไม่รู้รู้สึกเหมือนในรอบเพลย์ออฟอะถ้ามันแพ้แล้วแบบว่าทำให้ทีวันต้องแบบมีโอกาสไม่ได้ไปเวอร์แม่งมันมีสิทธิ์อะ Gen.G อะ
As we'll watch this play again, Lucid, I think they expected him to go
คือถ้าเกิดมันแพ้ในรอบเพลย์ออฟรอบแรกอะของ Gen.G มันเข้าอันดับ1ใช่ป่ะ
and has an incredible Maokai early game. The ultimate here
มันก็คือจะลงไปครองแบบฟีที่ดีในสายล่าง
Canyon flashes to die here on the chase on the Smash, who has his dash, so he just right over the wall. Canyon flashes, but has nowhere near the damage.
Yeah, Korea actually getting the ulti off to make sure that he stays alive.
มันจะเหมือนปีที่แล้วทีวันมันแบบก็ฟอร์มไม่ค่อยแบบคือทีวันมันฟอร์มมัน
and
and Canyon
มันหลากหลายเหลือเกินตอนนี้ T1 อะ
engage tools that is on this comp
ดับปกติสู้ไม่ได้แล้วตอนนี้ไม่ต้องดับแบบหลุดโลกไปเลย
Trickster Flash Cyclone extend that range to get on top of the carry who still has Flash by the way now you don't have yours so it's just like a set of disadvantages for Gen.G. I mean it's stacking up it's a long list right now.
Now we have Smash on his lonesome trying to defend this push from Ruler and Duro. Gen.G are not out of this one just yet. We know what Ruler and Duro are capable of with this combo, and they now have the Fate's Call as well as that hostile
พวกแบบ
takeover.
พวกเมจแบบเมจจังเกิลมันฟาร์มไวอยู่แล้วแต่มันบางเจี๊ยบ
Smash is very strong, very close to his Essence Reaver. Both him and Ruler are actually
ดีแล้วจะได้เห็นมีแผนหลากหลาย
items. Just need to get that Ether Wisp and to complete it for Ruler to
ย้ายมันต้องถึงขั้นแบบแซกเลนกลางเลยที่ว่าตอนนี้มันเริ่มเมื่อวานมันมีสิทธิ์แล้วเมื่อวานแบบมันลัมโบมันมาแล้วลัมโบกลางมันมาแล้วคืออะไรก็เกิดขึ้นได้กับทีวันแล้วตอนนี้กูบอกให้
And does decide to go in. There is the cast. Shiu is going to try and boot them back. Goes for the flash, but the Cyclone is going to be able to take him down. And Canyon just had to make sure that he waited out the ultimate and then transfers that into a kill.
แต่เฟกเกอร์เล่นโคตรดีเลยไซออน
This is a huge win for Gen.G as they also have Ruler lane swapping top here. Keen has TP to catch the wave bottom lane, so they're winning on both sides of the map here, frankly. As you can see,
แต่ตาราง Google DK กับ KT มันล็อกตำแหน่งกันนะพี่ใช่เลยใช่ไง
should be able to catch
ใช่
waves since there's a cannon wave.
คือ KT กับ DK มันคือ DK มันอันดับ 4 แล้ว KT มันอันดับ 5 แล้ว T1 ตอนนี้มันอาจจะอันดับ 2
Yeah, there's the charm connecting immediately onto Chovy as the Culling comes down, and now the resets start to come in, both of them just die immediately after the teleport.
ยิ้มอยู่ตอนนี้
Like everything that Gen.G does in this series, it seems like feels safe enough. Surely they won't push the envelope. Surely they won't try to look for the outplay. We're totally set. We've got a TP on our Syndra. If they try to dive, Chovy's there for the support, but it just isn't going to happen. Now, Shiu steps a bit too far up here and then tries to get cute with the hammer there and then trying to flash back to turret, but Canyon was able to suss it out. And here, Chovy knows he has TP, so he's like, all right, well, surely they won't go for this. But look at this angle. Charm hits onto Chovy. I think that might not even necessarily been intentional, but if it was, it's incredible. Either way, they stopped the Syndra from doing anything.
I mean, they just can't play the game. Like, Chovy arrived and then couldn't do anything. 3 Cloud Souls in a row! Oh my god, it's the best day of League of Legends all year.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's so windy.
ใครทักแล้วมาวะ
I tried to make wind sounds, but I think the microphone didn't like that. It's like we try to prevent
the microphone is actually built around not having those. Korea's going to flash out of the way of Duro. He does get the handshake back. Hostile takeover is flashed by Smash, but Korea is just dead. Ruler is now on the board as Keen fighting against Smash here. Lucid comes on over Bramble Smash to try and get rid of the Gragas. And I don't know whether he's going to have another one. Keen is taken down so incredibly low, though. Still going to survive. They take down Smash as well. The bottom lane has now been removed as Ruler bounces out of the fight. He's trying to get some damage down in this mid lane.
It might get 2 turrets for this play. So yes, 2 die, and it is a big win for Gen.G on the top side here, but quite a heavy cost here. Showmaker will pick up the first turret for D+ here, and it looks like Chovy will barely be able to defend the mid turret, so it's not 2 in exchange, but still D+ holding a massive lead. This is a little bit disrespectful here, I think, for Career and Smash. The Fate's Call comes through, forces the flash, but then shortly afterwards, Duro flash handshakes as the hostile takeover. Smash plays as well, flashes early, but now doesn't have any defensive options here for the cask that comes through from Keen. And then even still, Lucid helps come over here and peel, and it looks like maybe Smash might be able to get away, but there's enough follow-up here with this Kalista coming over. They barely take him out. And then Cyclone here employed forces Lucid to flash. But all the while, that Jace was pushing mid, which is why this gold lead hasn't really changed all too much for Gen.G, despite the double there on the top side.
Yeah, you can see Ruler does have his static shift now completed. Some glutinous Greaves put forward as well. And they're not in the right slot. It's a little bit confusing to me, seeing an 80 carry with shoes actually in the inventory. That is
because he hasn't finished that role quest, Atlas.
Yeah, he hasn't finished it yet, but oftentimes Boots 2 comes in and like they just immediately go over there. I haven't seen Glutinous Greaves in an inventory like almost at all.
Just goes to show the state of that bottom lane after what was a great level 1 14 minutes ago.
All right, Smash now just going to try and push them out. My goodness, okay. Smash is angry. After Gen.G did manage to take down him and
เคเลียจะไปหาเรื่อง
on that top side of the map.
Canyon has
ต้องไป
flash,
ตีน
but
สั
no
กหนึ่ง
cyclone
ที
yet.
เอา
Lucid
เฮ
playing
เลีย
around that cooldown really well here, just coming over and taking the Raptors away, printing money
Yeah.
across multiple players there as Leandri's damage really starting to hurt here.
And that's like the extent of his damage. Most likely he goes tank from here, so it's just going to be very difficult to play into this Maokai as he gets
อุ้ย
tankier
น้องมัน
and
ดุ
tankier as
สั
this
ตว์
game
เลย
goes
อ่ะ
on.
But when you have map control, every time a sapling spots somebody, that's great. But every time a sapling hits somebody, it's even better.
Did you know that it's very important to take crabs for a walk?
Yeah, it's
If you ever do have a pet crab, make sure that you take them for walks.
At least once per spawn.
Yeah.
In a game of League of Legends, they should be on a walk. Usually at least to the blue or red buff.
Yeah.
On which side of the rift you're on.
Yeah, so Chovy is doing his due diligence there to make sure that the crabs are exercised as much as possible. And they're going to be ardently blazed momentarily here by Smash.
Yeah. And lost his...
พรุ่งนี้ที่วันแข่งบ่าย 3 ครับ
No, wait, now he's unopposed.
Yeah, could be dangerous for a few seconds.
I think so.
All right, well, let's take stock of the game state. Gen.G down 2 dragons. 80 seconds till the next one spawns.
จะบอกว่ามันน่าดูมันก็น่าดูจะบอกว่ามันแบบ
by some really cool trickery in the early game, but still has the only gold
มัน
lead.
จะ3 ดาวหรือจะดาวเดียวแม่งก็คือ
force to play around if they do want to commit to this dragon
นึก
fight
ไม่ออกเลย
by Soul Point. They've got Flash Cyclone, they've got Chovy with quite a few splinters in tow. Isn't quite at his full power just yet, but has Flash, Scatter, tons of burst damage. So they just need to be able to lock down a single target in the beginning of this fight and kill it,
กับ
and then the Callisto
แก๊ง
can
ที่
run
เขา
away
เล่น
with
ริ
the
บาว
rest of
ใช่
the
ป่ะ
fight.
แล้วก็
The
บอกวัน
problem
นั้น
is the
ผมเสียดายพี่
Maokai
น่าไปเล่น
just
นะ
ruins
ที่
the
แบบ
whole
ที่เวสเกตอ่ะ
equation of how
พี่บอกพี่ก็
Gen.G
เสียดาย
wants
เหมื
to
อนกัน
set up
พี่
on
แต่ว่า
this.
วันนั้นมันเป็น
Even though they
Gen.G
have tons of
T1
vision
ไง
control right now, I think
แล้วพอ
D+,
แบบ
definitely
มาดู
consider
แข่งใช่ป่ะ
a big contest.
พอเห็นเกมแรก Gen.G T1 ปุ๊บอะก็รู้สึกว่ากูน่าไปดูกูน่าไปในแข่งริบาวอ่ะ
on this Maokai as well. Goes for the pretty cheap option in the protoplasm harness.
คือพอดูเกมแรกก็แบบ
This Maokai is
กูว่ากูน่า
at
ไป
full
ริบาว
power
มากกว่า
moving
ว่ะ
towards this Cloud Dragon fight, which would be Soul
แล้ว
Point
มัน
over
ก็
to D+. And they've been pretty good
ก็
at
ตาม
fighting
ภาพเลย
around Dragons so far this series. Level 11 for Canyon is a big deal as far as Cyclone value is concerned, but it's
ใน
level
เกมแรกสูสีอยู่
12
แบบ
already
42 นาที
here for
Look at
Lucid.
this.
He has a full level advantage.
I mean, Gen.G have tons of pride, tons of vision control on Dragon, and D+ are like, well, we'll just push
Iki
mid
len
turret
deck
instead,
อะไร
just
อะ
gonna ignore that. Now they've got bottom push, so Showmaker has a flank angle.
เรานั่งดูที่
Just the
Westgate
snap of
นั่ง
your
ยิ้ม
fingers as it spawns, the prio belongs to D+.
หนูทักไปเองค่ะเดี๋ยวแนะนำเรื่องแอดมิน อ๋อ โอเคพี่เทียบกูสมองแม่งปลาทองกูลืมไปแล้วว่าชื่อได้ครับเดี๋ยวพี่ทักไปทางทวิชอีกรอบได้ครับเดี๋ยวพี่ถามพี่เจก่อนว่ายังไงแล้วกูสมองพี่ลืมไปเลย ยีเหรอ
Looks like they're just gonna take the turret, let the dragon go.
Yeah, it's going to be a trade as Kane tries to body slam forward. Lucid looks to try and see whether he can keep himself alive. Tries to get out, but it's not going to work. That is the sticks pulled out by Ruler and a dead tree on the side of D+. Showmaker just down here on this bottom side trying to get pressure. Shu doing the same thing. Top side of the map, but they're not at the turrets. And yes, they'll get rid of some waves. But it's still not exactly the greatest.
Remember the fumble that D+ had in game 2 where I was like, oh, they have so much control and they have
ลิปเปล่าที่ไปแข่งที่บาร์เซโลนามาสเตอร์ยีเคนเนนไอริเลีย
instead of using their map. This time they just use the map. This time they let the dragon go. Sure, Lucid dies as well because he has to posture like this to make sure that that
Master
Gen.G
Yi
can't defend those sides, but
358 คน
Showmaker gets tons of time. They get the
กู
top
จะ
turret
รั่
for
ว
the chase. I think this is a win for both teams, but for D+, I think given the game state and the power of this Callista in the mid game and the comp with the Cyclone at the ready there, it was definitely the right call to say, you can have that, we'll get something else. For Gen.G, they absolutely needed to group and take that. So both teams, mission accomplished, so to say, and we're at a basically even game state as
มันไม่ใช่แค่เมตามันประหยัดด้วยครับ
It's not
เด็ก
exactly
ยี
leaning
คือ
one
เด็กประ
direction
หยัด
or the other. Still that
มันจะแบบ
2,000 gold
บัดเจ็ต
advantage
แบ
over
บ
D+.
เฟรนลี่มาก
Those
เก่ง
couple of extra
มาก
dragons
เข้าใจ
at their
ง่าย
disposal.
Such a powerful
คือถ้าใครอยากจะเริ่มต้น
Lucid gets a
แล้ว
smart
ไม่รู้จะเล่น
ass, which
อะไร
really
จ
should be
ริงๆเลย
nerfed
นะ
heavily,
มาสเตอร์ยี
because
คือ
of
คำตอบ
that,
คุณแล้ว
but
คุณก็จะแบบไปเล่นกับเพื่อนแล้วเพื่อนก็แบบว่า
because he has such a leading
มาดิ
edge
มึงเจอเด็กกู
so he's kinda doing a little bit of
แล้วมันก็แบบ
and also a little bit
มึง
tankier, a
เรา
little
ก็
bit
เอา
difficult to
เอา
kill.
ตัว
See what
ส่อง
happens
ไม้
in the
เข้าไป
next fight
แล้ว
where
ก็
he
เข้าไปยึด
actually employs his ultimate, looks
แล้ว
to
เพื่อนก็แบบ
actually
มี
try
สาม
to
ไม้
further
บอก
the divide, 'cause they have
มา
so
ดิ
much
เข้าไป
control
ตี
now
อ้าว
over the
กูแพ้
top
เหรอ
side of this
ใช่เพราะว่า
map
มาสเตอร์
as
ยีถ้า
continue
ดี
to
เฟน
push
คนเดียวได้
Showmaker
สอง
and
ไม้
decides, and
แล้วเพื่อนก็
with
แบ
all
บ
this shadow of the rest of the team, D+ are just forcing this awkward game state where
Okay.
like Ruler doesn't want to interact with Lucian, and on the other side, Canyon doesn't really have a cross map to play. The Jace has kept the wave where he wants. It's just the macro here for D+ right now. gives him such an advantage as here comes
ทำไม
Smash
ประหยัดอ่ะพี่การมันไม่สวยเหมือนเอเลียหรอมันไม่ได้มีอย่างใครสะอะไรอย่างเงี้ยมันไม่ได้แบบมีการแบบว่ารีควายว่าต้องเป็นการส่วนใหญ่มันถูกอ่ะการส่วนใหญ่มันเป็นการแบบมันการแบบถูกอ่ะมันก็เลยแบบเล่นได้นั่นคือความสุขของมัน
Jace plays so defensively, and the fact that Lucid standing around here allows Smash to like push forward and take out Ruler's health bar and get more
เนี่ย
damage
มันใช้
onto
โป
the
โล
turret.
มันคือมันเป็นใบที่แบบไม่แพงมีแบบก็อาจจะมีเลนก้าอะไรเงี้ยแพงบ้างแต่ว่ามันหลักๆมันคือแบบดีเฟนซ์โลแล้วมันได้2ใบอันนั้นแพงความรู้สึกพี่แม่งคือแบบทำให้ใบอื่นแม่งกลายเป็นเก่งขึ้นมาเลยวันนี้เมตาเราพิมพ์คำว่าเมตาการ์ดได้ครับขึ้นมาตัวใจเมตาการ์ด
Showmaker shows up, denies a blast cone entry and comes in.
Yeah, Chom connects onto Duro, that newly completed Leandri's. Now giving him 2 items, but not exactly massive damage onto Duro here. Still they get the charge onto the inner turret. That gold lead is
ว่าผมเล่น
increasing.
ลิฟบาร์บนเว็บเด็กแจ็คตั้งแต่พี่ออกไปจากบ้านเล่นลิฟบาร์มายันตอนพี่ปิดไลฟ์ชนะ1 ตาทวนที่เหลือโดนตก
Now he's actually pushing that bottom wave to get full vision on the bottom side of the map to force the Gragas to show then onto vision.
แจ็คเหรอ
And now
แจ็ค
D+
มันอยู่แรง
can
ประมาณไหน
They
นะ
have vision control around Baron right now. They know obviously that Gen.G aren't there, but Gen.G don't know how much vision. They don't have vision of Baron at all or that river, so it's a little scary when you're at this game state.
แจ็ค
90
เทีย
seconds
เอฟ
till the
อะ
dragon spawns here, and
เสียใจจริงแต่ว่าแจ็คแม่งเทียเอฟเลย
I don't think either team can threaten Baron or anything like that at this point. It's really going to be about that dragon. But so far, the push and pull here for D+ on the map has been great, and Gen.G have been doing their best to try to regain control of mid and sides, but they have not been successful.
Not just yet. Smash pretty close to 3 items, but so is Ruler. And both of them will be completing some armor penetration coming up here very, very shortly. And I think Ruler is quite dangerous. Does hit that 2 item spike that we talk about with the Callista. Rage Blade being completed. And Terminus should be done relatively soon. Same as that mortal reminder here for Smash that is going to be coming in shortly.
The scariest person on the Rift for me right now is Lucid. He has so many ways to either start a fight for D+, or defend against an attempt from Canyon
แต่
and
เขียว
Ruler
เขียว
try to
ส้ม
actually
มัน
win one or
อาจ
get
จะ
a
เล่น
pick.
ยากนะพี่ว่าเขียว
And
ส้ม
with the control that Showmaker has right now, he can threaten this. They instantly ping him on that Ahri flank, and that pushes the mid laners back, Duro and Ruler away. And that map control remains D+'s. It looks like maybe Canyon wanted to again try to look for
แต่
a
เอาเป็น
collapse
ว่า
on the
ราคา
shield,
ใน
but
เว็บมัน
he
ก็พอ
also
เทียบได้
gets
อยู่แล้วก็
vision
รา
and
คา
backs
ประมาณนั้น
away.
ได้ประมาณ
I
การ
really
ได้
like this Shirelia's purchase from Korea.
Yeah.
ถ้าอยากเล่นแจ็คเราเล่นออนไหมแต่ว่าถ้าเราชอบแจ็คเราเล่นเผื่อได้แบบไปแข่งแล้วได้เมทัล
And
อ
so
ย่าไป
getting
ซี
the
เรียส
movement speed to avoid being cast.
ไปแข่งแล้วได้เมทัลมาไปโชว์เพื่อแบบอ้าวมึงเล่นอะไรนะเล่นอะไรดีเลยเหรออ๋อมึงไม่ได้เลยนี่หว่ากูได้แจ็คเมทัล
He
มา
grabs
นะ
an Imperial Mandate. It's going to mean that all of those abilities should be coming up a whole lot sooner. Based on the fact that most of them
เมทัล
have
ก็คือเป็น
CC,
การ์ด
body
เล
slamming
เจน
all
ด์
over
แบบ
the
เป็น
rift,
แบบ
perhaps.
ทำจากเหล็กซึ่ง
Shot
จะ
blast now from Shiu.
มูลค่าก็เป็นหลัก
This
หมื่
pincer
น
maneuver. Let's see whether it works as Lucid throws down the ulti. No soul available for DK, but can they win the fight? That's the question. Exhaust onto Shiu in that backside as Showmaker gets over the wall, bounces back again. Shiu going to be taken down as Ruler. Looking for the angle. Will the bailout work? No, it will not.
เชี่ยพอได้รีเซ็ตแล้วแม่งเก่งจัดเลยอาเลีย
At full health, looking to clean up the battlefield. Canyon slinking away, and Showmaker,
มัน
he's
มัง
got
กร
one
ล้ม
more
ไหมมัน
charge.
ขี่ล้มอยู่
Can he catch up to this monkey? I don't think so. He might be able to, is he going to be able to get the execution? That is the question. As there he goes. Smash able to pick up the kill.
Bought some time, at least. Well played there by Canyon, but all it really gets him is an extra plate for his mid laner, as this turret is still pretty healthy this late into the game. The way this fight is played is so difficult for Gen.G because they're dealing with 2 fronts. They're dealing with this push through from Musa, which is impossible to punish. You see the great charm onto Keen. He tanks up so much damage, but he can't actually get any agency here, any power for Ruler. Ruler's like, I'm trying to find a good target to kill. Finally, they get that Jace, but that's it. By the time he goes down, Ruler's bailout is not going to work. Chovy's positioned well, but that means he can't actually set up the bailout there. Wait, he's the last one to die.
All right.
Baron on the cards. Lucid's ult's back up.
Yeah, so Lucid might be able to actually play some keep away with this ulti. Throws it down. There's the cast in from Kane trying to make the big play. Shiu gets a huge heal, but it's not enough to keep him alive. That's going to be Lucid locking down the Baron, and now the Twisted advance. The Culling's there as well. And down
โอ้ปูทพัสมาพอดีเชี่ยแม่งคูดาวกลับมาพอดีเมื่อกี้อ๋อรู้สึกเลยแบบ กาการข้ามไม่ได้โอ้แล้วติดอีกจบแล้ว GG DK ชนะแม้กระทั่ง Gen.G ว่ะไอเชี่ยโหดสัส
Tuck and tail and running, but he cannot escape from Showmaker. The
โอ้แล้วแบบโยนคิวก่อนแล้วค่อยชามด้วย
It's beautifully done here by D+. Trophy's going to take a little while to go down. His career is just going to try and...
That's the ace, Atlas.
That's the ardently blazed to death. There we go. Beautifully done.
And they got the chase, which is what they've been trying to do all game long, it feels like. But that's all they're going to get. It's just... Oh, I mean, look, they have no jungle here, right? So... While this is happening, they need to win a fight, but they're also playing a 4v5 game here effectively. And as the Jace goes down, look at this. Keen tries to get in there. He goes super low, and Ruler is just focused down. Lucid is so tanky, and they just can't get a bailout. Cannon's not here. Chovy doesn't do enough damage.
And Duro was just nowhere near. So even though the bailout was sort of available, just wasn't enough that this Renata could actually do. And Showmaker, he had like 4 essence at some point in that fight. Like, it was insane, the value this Ahri managed to get.
I mean, Chovy plays this incredibly well. I mean, it's a tragedy for Gen.G. It looks like this game is truly done, but you gotta recognize real when you see it. Also, really cool time buy from him as after Canyon bought a lot of time in the previous play, but buying time repeatedly isn't going to get you back into the game, I'm afraid.
ที่ว่าของเราต้องเก่งให้ได้มากกว่านี้นะเอา DK ลงให้ได้
Now defending this Baron for another minute 15.
Look at the Rebel Baron power play. It's 4.3k right now. There's still a
ผมว่า
minute
จริง
left.
ๆก็มีโอกาสที่ Gen.G แม่งจะเอา
Showmaker,
T1
but
มา
he's got his
แต่ว่าอันนี้คือ
There's another
คุ
calling.
ณพูดอย่างนี้ไม่ได้ว่า T1 อาจจะเป็นอันดับ 2 ก็ได้ใครจะรู้
Oh my God. Duro just having to flash his smash
สแมัชแม่ง
now
ของดี
with
แบบ
that
เมือง
cozy
กิมจิจริง
campfire is just pushing forward. Canyon still lurking.
Ruler now flashless. If he died there, the game just ends. It might still just the same if they can find another angle here onto Keen, who desperately wants to defend this turret, but he's just not going to be able to. He has to let it go. This power play just gets bigger and bigger.
5.5 thousand gold. And yeah, there's 30 seconds. One more in a turret, but it doesn't exactly have a wave right now, nor anyone there. So I think this is going to be the end of the push. But 1 minute, and then it's going to be Cloud Soul. And then D+ can race even faster to the enemy base. And Smash has an IE.
They have so many tools. The fact that Ruler doesn't have Flash is... How is he going to play this fight? They don't have a Void Staff yet for Chovy. He doesn't do enough damage to get that bailout. They need that damage so badly. Gragas is trying to, set up these fights and try to look for targets, but Smash
เดี๋ยวนี้พี่ลงไวนะครับแชทไปดูบอลด้วยครับพรุ่งนี้เรามาเจอกันบ่าย 3เหมือนเดิมแล้วพรุ่งนี้เราก็สตรีมยาวๆหาเกมเล่นกันพรุ่งนี้อยากเล่นในไดโนเสาร์อยู่อยากเล่นไดโนเสาร์ไปเป็นไดโนเสาร์สักหน่อย
That's all he's got. He doesn't have a cleanse. If he gets charmed, it's 100% doomsday.
And he's also like 100% of his team's kills, right? Like DK, they know exactly what they need to do.
ที่วันกับฮาวาไรครับแย่งอันดับ 2
just going to win the fight immediately
ใครชนะได้อันดับ 2 แต่พี่ไม่ชัวร์ว่าแบบถ้าฮาวาไรชนะ T1 อ่ะมันจะถ้าชนะ 2-0 นะมันจะอันดับ 1 ไหมอันนี้ไม่ชัวร์เพราะว่าแบบคะแนนมันเท่า Gen.G ไงพี่ไม่รู้ว่าจะมีไทยเบรกยังไงมันต้องไปหาข้อมูลอ่ะไหนสักครับอ่ะพี่แทนนี่รออยู่แทนนี่เสาร์อาทิตย์จะพักครับแทนนี่
is tracking where the Wukong is as best as they can. They've got a sapling to see his wraparound here. He's going top side right now, and they know it.
ฮาวาไรหนักอยู่นะอาการT1น่าจะไหวพรุ่งนี้โอ้โหT1อาการมึงแม่งโคม่าคือถ้าเกิดอยู่โคม่าก็คือนอนข้างกันอะฮาวาไรT1บอกเลย
Playing against one of the best players in our league, in Lucid, who I think,
and he's having probably one of his best days all year.
I mean, for
ที่เสียเวลาดูแมนยูทำไมแพ้อยู่ดี
can we say
วันนี้อาจจะได้เป็นหัวตาราง
where Lucid has gone from inconsistency to making our friend Chronicle cry when he picked Maokai.
ทำไมได้กลับมาบูมที่
after having the performance he did on the Lee Sin in Game 2.
Do you know what the best thing is? We actually have the leader of the
เป็นเพราะว่าเซิร์ฟเวอร์มันคุยกันแล้วมันหาแต่มันมีอินฟิลเล่นกันแล้วมันดูหาเนี่ยคือว่าอันนั้นน่าจะพอมันหามันก็แบบมันคือคอนเทนต์มันอะไรมันหามันนอกเหนืออยู่แล้วว่าเกมดังไม่ดังเอาง่ายเกมแบบอย่างตอนนั้นพี่เล่นเกมตู้ปลาอย่างเงี้ยมันไม่มีใครเล่นมันไม่มีกระแสเกมตู้ปลาด้วยซ้ำแต่ว่าพอมันแบบพอพี่ทำมาออกมาแล้วมันหามันก็เป็นคอนเทนต์แล้วพออย่างเกมไดโนเสาร์เงี้ยพอมันหาใช่ป่ะมันก็คนก็
waiting for
ก็
a
ไปเล่น
mistake
กันอะไรอ
from
ย่าง
D+,
งี้
because that's all they could do.
Yeah, it's their only option right now.
Look at the push from the Jace in the bottom lane. No one's answering that right now. Someone eventually will have to. As they group to try to punish Lucid, who's so incredibly tough to kill, as Sonya's completed.
พี่ว่ามัน
They just walk away and throw saplings, and Gen.G are like, please make a mistake. I don't know what to do. As you know, the Shiu push continues. Now Keen's gonna have to go deal with that. He does have TP, but D+ are basically just playing you know when you watch a streamer in between games like alt tab and play a game, like that's basically what D+ are doing until Baron's up.
This is Faker playing Polybridge. Absolutely. Korea does complete his ardent sensor. There is a very cool hat here for
แต่อยากให้น้องคนนั้นเล่นแจ็คได้ว่ะไอ้เชี่ยอย่าไปสนเลยนะเว้ยว่ามันแบบไม่เมตาเราต้องเล่นตัวแบบต้องนำเมตาเว้ย
I think Lucid's going to get POM, but Showmaker has had a
phenomenal performance,
especially this game, sort of giving up his early laning phase.
Isn't it a tragedy that also Smash playing with consideration after this perfect Victor game into this Lucian performance? Career also?
I mean, it's just not very fair, but Lucid's going to get it because that Lucian game was absolutely
and that's what he deserves it.
ไม่พี่เล่นได้คือจริงมัน
We're maybe getting ahead of ourselves, but we're also maybe not. It's an 8.8k gold lead.
มันก็ถูถ่ายให้จบได้อยู่ละมั้งอันนั้นน่ะแต่ว่ามันยากตรงที่ว่ามันต้องดีเฟนต์อันนั้นน่ะต้องไปสร้างที่ทำป้องกันใหม่แล้วสร้างมันต้องช่วยกันสร้างถ้าช่วยกันสร้างมันก็คงแป๊บเดียวถ้ายังกันที่เดิมอยู่ก็คงต้องย้ายบ้านทุกอย่างไปด้านอื่นแทน
He just throws a little mini tree and you just get grooted and then you just can't do anything.
I wish we could show the vision toggle for Gen.G and then show D+. Look at the map. Look at all the blue. Look at all the dots, the wards, the saplings, the control wards, everything. There's that one like blue buff residual. That's not what I'm talking about. But all the other blue dots, the minions
การ์ดออกยากเหรออันดับแรกคนเล่นเยอะอันดับ2การ์ดออกยากอันดับที่3ตัวแม่งเก่งสัตว์ตัวแม่งแบบคือมันสามารถบังคับให้ตื่นได้เล่นได้เลยแล้วเข้าไปยึดได้เลยแล้วยึดปุ๊บอะไม้4แม่งช่วงแรกอะไม่มีใครสู้ได้อยู่แล้วและแม่งชนะแม่งได้จ่วยมันแบบมันรวมอัลติเมทดากอนโปรไฟล์แล้วก็เป็นเหมือนแบบว่าเป็นเหมือนตัวที่แบบถ้าใครจะเล่นเด็กแดงอ่ะต้องมีใครสาเหมือนมันบังคับว่าแบบเด็กแดงต้องมีใครสาแต่แล้วมันเป็นยูนิตที่ออกยากเลยแหละถ้ามันออกง่ายมันก็คงไม่แพง
Lucid can just throw this down at any moment. Look at this. Hooney is doing so much work.
เชียโยนไปเรื่อยๆโยนทุกอย่างไปเรื่อยๆแล้วก็ขัง Gen.G อยู่ข้างใน
And Keen misses the body slam. The charm comes through and he's just brambled to death. Hostile takeover onto only Lucid. Twisted dance comes through. It is a wash. D+ are gonna smash them in the fight. Ruler at least takes one as Lucid will go down, but that is Smash picking up almost all the kills, and Shiu is just going to win the game.
Shiu's just going to do what he's been doing all game long, which is creeping closer and closer to taking out Gen.G's Nexus from the side lane. He TP's over, sets up the wave. Who needs the Baron? Who needs a smite? D+ with nothing to play for in this series.
Gen.G เมื่อกี้เล่นเพลงสุดท้ายแล้วพยายามเล่นแล้วมันทำดีอยู่แล้วโชวี่โดนแก๊งตอนแรกไงระเบิดอะโดนแบบแฟดทุกอย่างแก๊งปล่อยกลับ
As immediately Shiu and crew get pointed out by, I think he pointed at Shiu there, CV Max giving the big thumbs up.
Yeah, Shiu had a great game, but I think so much of this came down to Lucid. And Lucid we had been pretty critical of when it came to keeping his emotions in check. And look at that huge grin on his face. This D+ Kia are just, they're fixing all of their issues, one after the other. They found out in their last match they needed to stay hungry, so obviously the snacks were banned, and they move into this game, and they are a devastating...